Hey everyone, welcome back to Kids and Manhwa. Today we are recapping a story. Let's get started. The thing is, in my past life, I awakened the worst class in society repairman rank. I should have had a peaceful life running a bicycle repair shop. But unfortunately, a powerful corporation discovered a loophole in my talent. So, what if it's rank? Hand me a piece of scrap iron, and with a few swings of my hammer, it becomes the divine sword Excalibur. Give me a tattered fireball skill book. I'll tape it back together, and it'll transform into a world-destroying forbidden spell. My class was rank, but my skills were god rank. As a result, those corporate bastards locked me in an underground basement, forcing me to slave away 24/7 like a mangy dog. No salary, no insurance, not even a single day off, until I was completely drained. At the very moment I was about to close my eyes for the last time, I used my final breath to repair a useless time-based skill. And just like that, time reversed. I regressed. As the day of my awakening arrived again, under the expectant eyes of the crowd, the light of my talent shone brilliantly. The system announced awakened class. Repairman. Wake. The entire academy erupted in contemptuous laughter. But wait, the light hadn't faded. A sequential talent. It was the legendary dual class. The entire school held its breath, and the invigilators stared with wide eyes. The system finalized it awakened second class. Farmer. Rank. A second of silence. Then the whole school was rolling on the floor with laughter. The laughter had doubled. The contempt quadrupled. The destruction combo of a handyman and a hick. The trash of all trash. The failure among failures. Everyone looked at me with pity that could pierce the heavens. But those fools had no idea what was behind the face I kept lowered in shame. The corner of my mouth is already stretched from ear to ear. Inside, I was throwing a celebration. Gore! Laugh. Laugh your hearts out. They only know that a repairman swings a hammer and a farmer sows seeds. But does anyone know that if you take an rankweed seed grown by a farmer and give it to a repairman to modify, it becomes the world tree? Have any of you ever seen a divine weapon sprout from a cabbage patch? All right. No more rambling. Our story begins now. Today is the most important day in a high school student's life, awakening day, held right in the shadow of a colossal, sky-piercing demonic rift. On the packed bus, students were buzzing with excitement, holding tight to the handrails, eagerly discussing the bright futures that awaited them. Our young man suddenly startled awake, his eyes wide as he stared blankly at the scenery around him. A crazy thought flashed through his mind. I've really returned. Memories flooded back, and he realized with a shock that this was the day all final year students went to the Namdung Demonic Rift Station to awaken their classes. This meant that right now was the golden moment. 2.5 years before the city of Namdung would be razed to the ground. A quick history lesson. 12 years ago, countless entrances to demonic rifts suddenly descended upon humanity, and Namdung was one of them. Monsters poured out, slaughtering people en masse. But, ironically, when humanity charged into the rifts with guns, ammunition, and even nuclear weapons to counterattack, they were stunned to find that the magic here rendered all modern weaponry completely useless. It wasn't until much later that people discovered a truth upon turning 18. If they approached a rift, they could awaken various classes, gaining innate skills and the power to fight the monsters. After 5 long years of bloody warfare, humanity finally managed to control all the entrances and began to venture into the demonic world with swords. Because of this, human society was completely transformed. A new rule was established: every high school student who turned 18 was required to go to a demonic rift to awaken their class. These classes were divided into 3 main types. They were combat, support, and production. Among them, combat classes were always held in the highest regard, and support classes were also highly sought after. In contrast, the poor production classes were looked down upon and treated as lowly manual laborers. And as luck would have it, in his previous life, the class he got was a bottom-of-the-barrel rank production class. However, heaven never closes all doors. The innate skill he received was a heaven-defying one: modify. By changing just one letter in the name of a skill or item, he could instantly turn trash into a treasure. The problem was, in his past life, the moment he foolishly showed off this divine skill, he was taken away and brought before the powerful elite. They forced him to modify all sorts of skill and equipment names. He helped them turn worthless scrap metal into gleaming divine artifacts. But the overwhelming power of his skill made them fear him. So, instead of paying him, they decided to imprison him, limit his growth, and try to control him completely. Until that fateful night, a colossal level 96 magic dragon beast suddenly emerged from the Namdong Rift, an unprecedented event. And on that very day, he had just grinned his way to level 70, barely stepping into the ranks of humanity's elite. Perhaps someone saw that he was no longer easy to control and wanted to use the monster to eliminate him. In the moment before his death, he roared, activating Modify. He changed Revive to Rebirth. And boom, that modified innate skill brought him back to the past. Back in the present, the driver's voice cut through his thoughts. We're almost at the Namdong Demonic Rift. All students, prepare to get off. Hiding in the crowd, he muttered with determination. Now that I'm alive again, it doesn't matter who wanted to kill me. With this divine skill, the only person I can trust is myself. As the bus crossed the boundary, he swore to himself that in this life, he would never tell anyone about his ability, because he knew that protecting his family, friends, and this entire city had to start with keeping his mouth shut and guarding his secret. With a confident smile, he concluded, and I'll secretly grind like hell to save myself in this whole city. The bus finally stopped in front of the magnificent Awakening Plaza, the headquarters of the Namdong City Hunters Association. As soon as they got off, his friends started to grumble. Oh man, we're about to awaken our classes. If I get some trash production class, I'm screwed. I'd rather get the weakest strength combat class. Ayanjong, our young man hiding his skills, had just stretched as he stepped off the bus when his friends crowded around him, gushing. Ayanjong was born with max mana capacity, and he's number one in both academics and combat. I'm so jealous of a genius like him. He's definitely going to awaken a super strong combat class, right? However, there's always someone who likes to stir up trouble. His classmate who ranked second, Victor Duong, immediately cut in with a sour look on his face. What the hell does any of that have to do with your awakened class? This jealous rival even let out a loud laugh and added a condescending remark. Plenty of people have super high mana compatibility and still end up with some useless rank class. Ignoring the coolest guy's antics, the teacher walked over and patted Yanjiang's shoulder expectantly. Yanjiang, you go first. I hope you'll bring us some good luck. The teacher led the way, reassuring the students. Don't be too nervous. Just place both hands on the crystal orb, and your class panel will awaken automatically. A clear announcement echoed from the speakers. Student from Namdong No. 1 High School. Yanjiang, please step forward and awaken your class. Hearing his name, he walked confidently toward the platform of glory, ignoring the nervous anticipation of the crowd. He just smirked and thought, unlike all of you who are still dreaming, I already know what the result is going to be. Below, the female students couldn't stop whispering. Yanjiang was born with max mana. If he awakens a combat class, he'll be terrifyingly strong. In contrast, the teacher clasped his hands and muttered, please don't be a production class. Please don't be a production class. And his rival standing nearby curled his lip and cursed. That slum-dwelling brat will probably get a production class. Just watch. Ignoring all the whispers, Yanjiang calmly reached his hands toward the magic crystal orb. The moment his hands touched its smooth surface, a blinding pillar of light erupted, engulfing his entire body. And then, the system panel displayed to large, radiant words repairman. The detailed stats hit them right in the eyes. Name Yanjiang. School Namdong No. 1 High School. Mana compatibility 100%. Awakened class repairman. System production. Rank F. The entire plaza seemed to freeze. The teacher clutched his head in despair. How could this be? That kid works so hard. Top in both academics and practical skills. Born with max mana. And he awakens in rank? You've got to be kidding me. Shattering the gloomy atmosphere, Victor Duong burst out laughing as if he'd won the lottery. I told you so. It's a production class, and a bottom-tier rank repairman at that. He laughed maniacally, gloating with smug satisfaction. Oh, Yanjiang, you've been my top rival for the past 3 years. Now look at your pathetic state. The examiner standing nearby felt sorry for him and tried to offer some comfort. Actually, a repairman isn't that bad. It's still much better than a farmer. You could open an equipment repair shop and make a decent living. But before the comforting words could finish, the magical light from his body flared up violently once more. The examiner's eyes widened in shock, and he quickly shouted, "Wait, the crystal orb is reacting again. He's awakening the second class." The teacher immediately regained his composure, his eyes shining with hope. A dual awakening is extremely rare. Anyone who possesses two classes is an outstanding genius. Even if the first one is rank, maybe the second one can turn the tables. The second pillar of light swirled and surged, just as brilliant and intense as the first, until the system panel finalized it with two massive words, farmer. The stat panel updated with chilling finality, awakened classes repairman. Farmer. System production. Rank F. The teacher and the examiners were completely petrified, their mouths hanging open. A rare dual class user. Awakened Fangs? This one is even worse than the first. Victor Duo was now clutching his stomach, laughing so hard he was crying. A double rank. Ayunjong, you truly are a once-in-a-millennium genius. School valedictorian with two fangs dragging you down. Leaving all the chaos behind him, Ayunjong calmly turned and walked down the steps. The teacher watched his departing figure, pushed up his glasses, and sighed sympathetically. Ah, poor Ayunjong. The kid's luck is unbelievably bad. He should have been a legendary prodigy, but now he's turned into a failure. The crowd whispered with extreme pity. He worked so hard to be the best in both academics and combat. And in the end, as he disappeared into the dim light, Ayunjong just smirked. A failure? Unlucky? It's true that the classes I awakened are at the very bottom of society. He put his hands in his pockets, his demeanor impossibly cool as he continued his thoughts. But what I really awakened was a fate-defying, heaven-defying innate skill. A hidden system panel appeared with dazzling golden text. Class Repairman. Innate skill modify. Cost 100 mana. Description: this skill can alter one character in the name of an innate skill, equipment, or item. After modification, the owner of the name will receive an innate skill, equipment, or item corresponding to the new name. Note if the target of modification belongs to the user. The success rate is 100%. If the target's level exceeds the user's, the success rate decreases by 10% for each level higher. He recalled his past life, where a magical trick of changing the word growth promotion to rebirth for the farmer class granted him a top-tier life-saving resurrection spell. Farmer innate skill growth promotion. Cost 100 mana. Description: increases plant growth speed by 10%. Modified innate skill minus class farmer. Innate skill rebirth. Cost 100 mana. Description: resurrects the target, including the user, and restores all injuries. However, spent mana will not be restored. Ayunjong flashed a devilishly confident smile. As long as I use this skill well, it will surely become my greatest trump card. Looking up at the giant screen displaying the rookie rankings, Ayunjong's lips curled into a calculating smile. Just you wait. I'll take the top spot on both ranking boards, and then you'll all experience the terror of being dominated by an rank class. After all, the resources and rewards for the number one spot far exceed the imagination of ordinary people. His gaze was resolute. In this life, I will stand alone at the pinnacle of power. Without hesitation, he headed straight for the rookie training facility, the Rambai Zone, a place designed to help newbies level up. This area was filled with weak demonic rough creatures raised in captivity by humans. Not only was it safe, but the EXP drop rate was the highest for new adventurers. He calculated in his head. On top of that, breaking the clear time record would earn a ton of bonus points for the upcoming provincial rookie tournament. Taking long, confident strides, he finalized his goal. I'm not just here to level up. I'm going to shatter that clear record and secure my ticket to the number one university. At the checkpoint, a staff member held his file and looked at him with a troubled expression. Ayunjong. Namdung No. 1 High School. Class 12. A1. Awaken a dual rank production class. Was previously the top student in both academics and combat. A1 in 10,000 dual awakening. And both are rank. A knight standing nearby also frowned and advised. Hey kid, are you sure you want to try this solo? Even though this is just the first stage of the rookie dungeon, the difficulty is no joke. He friendly patted Dian's shoulder. kindly reminding him, especially within ranked class, it's best if you party up with your classmates. But Ian Jong just replied calmly, I'm sure. Please issue me the standard novice equipment. The two men looked at each other and sighed wearily, muttering, this kid used to be the top of the whole school. He probably still can't accept the shock of awakening to ranked classes. Though he felt pity, the knight had no choice but to hand over the gear. Here's your novice equipment. Take it. Looking at the items in his hand, he remembered his past life. The only equipment he received was a level 1 iron sword that gave 5 attack power. This time, he even got a bonus pair of level 1 leather shoes with 3 speed. Looks like this knight really pities me. Lifting the sword, he smiled politely. Thank you for your kindness, he said, even though the man was clearly underestimating his strength. The kind knight gave one last piece of advice before Ian stepped through the dungeon portal. If the ram by herd overwhelms you, just shout for help. The rescue knights will intervene immediately. Thanks for the warning, he said, waving as he turned to enter. But you won't have to worry about me. The dungeon door slowly closed behind him. The moment he was out of sight, our hidden master immediately activated his hack, the innate skill, Modify. A magical spell instantly transformed the crappy iron sword into a steel sword Delphi. 1. 10 attack. 5 armor penetration and the leather shoes into winged shoes LV. 1. 10 speed. 15% movement speed. What a bargain. Holding the gleaming new sword, he clicked his tongue with a bit of regret. If I modified them into a holy sword or a demon sword, they'd be a billion times stronger. But he immediately squashed that impulsive thought. Considering all the surveillance cameras in here, it's best to stay humble. After all, revealing my talent in my past life cost me a very dear price. Besides, he consoled himself, level 1 equipment has its upgrade limits. But, for me right now, this is more than enough to get by. As he stepped inside, the system panel displayed a reminder the training area is divided into 3 sections: Basic Zone, Advanced Zone, and Boss Zone. Please remain in the Basic Zone for standard training. Ignoring the newbie area, he headed straight for the deeper regions. Those seeking a greater challenge may proceed to the Advanced Zone. And to break the clear record, I have to enter the boss own and slaughter a ram by boss. As soon as he crossed the boundary, 7 monsters with glowing red eyes appeared, growling from the bushes. The system immediately scanned their information. A dull tramby. LV. A common low-level magic beast. A crystal horn grows on its head, allowing it to inflict immense damage with its extremely aggressive charge. Lightly flicking the steel sword, he psyched himself up. My goal is to reach level 5 here. I'll probably need to kill at least 100 of them. The crazed rambish shrieked, baring their teeth as they charged, demanding the life of the newcomer. Facing hundreds of monsters rushing towards him like a tidal wave, Jong simply stood calmly in his stance. He mapped out his grinding route. Only after I reach level 5 will I be qualified to challenge the next stage. The wolf's den. I ran by, leapt at him, and was immediately cut down. He thought smugly, although that place is a nightmare for most newbies. For me, it's the perfect leveling spot. Instantly, he plunged into the horde of monsters like a whirlwind. The light from his sword flashed, sending rambists flying like autumn leaves, while slaughtering them wildly. He wondered excitedly, at this rate, I might hit level 10 in a heartbeat. And at level 10, I'll unlock that legendary ultimate skill. An image of a powerful skill flashed in his mind. The level 10 awakened innate skill, a god-tier skill theoretically capable of creating ultimate magic beasts, slicing down another dozen monsters. His eyes burned with fire. Then, I can become even stronger. While grinding intensely, he suddenly remembered his nemesis. Speaking of which, that Victor Duong guy who always held a grudge against me in my past life is probably starting his awakening now. He slammed his sword down, clearing a wave of creeps. He clicked his tongue. As soon as he awakens, he'll definitely come looking for trouble. At the same time, our view returns to the Awakening Plaza. A clear voice from the speakers announced, next, from Namdong No. 1 High School, Class 12A1, Victor Duong. Standing before the platform, he was sweating bullets, his hands trembling as he screamed internally. Damn it, even if I only get a rank or SRAR class, as long as it's better than that rank trash Ian Jong got, I'm the winner. Just as he finished his prayer, a colossal, blinding pillar of magic light erupted, swallowing the figure of the young man dreaming of surpassing others. Instantly, the single word BERSERK appeared in my drawer. Large and dazzling. The stat panel appeared magnificently named Victor Duo. School name Dung No. One high school. Mana compatibility 16%. Awaken class Berserker. System main combat. Reiki. He spread his arms wide, threw his head back, and laughed like a madman. I've won. The crowd below instantly erupted, mouths and eyes wide open. They exclaimed, A main combat class, and it's A rank. They all started whispering. He was in Ian Jiang's shadow for 3 years, and now he's actually turned the tables and climbed to the top. He straightened his collar, lifted his chin arrogantly, and declared, From this moment on, no one is allowed to call me second place ever again. His lips twitched into a sly smirk. His fists clenched in triumph. Now, Class 12A1 is only one number one. Pounding his chest, he pointed a thumb at himself, undrored with self-satisfaction. And that's me, Victor Duong. Seeing this, his lackeys rushed over, showering him with praise. Boss Victor, you're a monster. Now how can that trash Xianzhong even compete with you? He stuck his hands in his pockets, his eyes scanning the area. I just awakened an A-rank class. You know, wouldn't it be a shame if that double-ranked trash wasn't here to witness it? A sycophant beside him chimed in. Xianzhong probably realized how awesome Boss Victor is and got so scared he ran off to hide in some corner. Just then, a chubby guy in the group pointed into the distance and tattled. I think I just saw him heading towards a rookie training facility. Seizing the opportunity, Victor Duong waved his hand, leading the group away. Let's go. A double-ranked piece of trash like him must be struggling at the training facility. We have to go and lend him a hand. The teacher pushed up his glasses and watched them go, sighing in frustration. Lend a hand? What nonsense. He clearly just wants to watch Xianzhong make a fool of himself. Victor Duong always uses his wealthy family background to bully others. Xianzhong is really in for it this time. Memories of his favorite student flooded back, making the teacher feel even more pained. That child worked harder than anyone. I often saw him studying in the classroom late into the night, pushing himself on the track until it hurt just to watch. Unconsciously, the teacher touched his forehead in frustration, and in the energy training room, even when the pain threshold reached its maximum, he never made a single sound. Why would such a hardworking kid awaken the most useless ranked classes? Meanwhile, in another quarter, a teenager with a lollipop in his mouth smirked knowingly. My dear rival, even a ranked class isn't enough to hold back his growth. A character info panel displayed Shane Feng. Nam Dung No. One high school. Class 12A9. Ranked second in the entire school in both academics and combat, right behind Xianzhong. He muttered, No one knows better than me just how cruelly he can push himself. The lollipop-sucking young man recalled a bitter memory. During the 10th grade final exams, that guy really beat me to a pulp. The image of Xianzhong, covered in wounds but with eyes still blazing with fighting spirit, appeared in his mind. Shane Feng threw away the lollipop stick. His classmate, that Victor Duong guy, seems to be looking for trouble. On second thought, maybe I should go and take a look. His eyes sharpened, reinforcing his decision. His classmate, that Victor Duong guy, seems to be looking for trouble. On second thought, maybe I should go and take a look. He put his hands in his pockets and walked away with an air of immense confidence. The only one allowed to defeat and humiliate the rival I've acknowledged is me. If anyone else dares to lay a finger on him, just they try. At the same time, our view returns to the dungeon. Xianzhong was leaning on his sword, panting heavily. Luring on killing over 100 of them at once. It's really too much for this current body. Perched atop a mountain of Rambai corpses, he wiped his sweat and smirked. But it's fine. Now only the Rambai King is left. Taking it down will clear this area and push me straight to level 5. As soon as he finished speaking, a giant monster appeared with a roar. The info panel quickly updated Rambai King. LV 5. Description: King of the low-level magic beasts. An elemental crystal horn grows on its head, allowing its charge attacks to inflict elemental damage. Extremely aggressive. Xianzhong gritted his teeth, sweat pouring down his face. This is bad. My injuries are this severe. His status panel appeared D and Jaw. LV, 4. Current TXP 94%. On the opposite side, the Rambai King's eyes were bloodshot. It scraped its hooves on the ground, preparing to unleash a fatal blow. With a boom, it shot forward like a speeding cannonball of flesh, kicking up a cloud of dust. Looking at his worn-out shoe soles from skidding to a halt, he quickly calculated in his head, if I face it head-on right now, I'll definitely lose. The dust swirled, but his eyes remained sharp. But I've already figured out a way to win. The system blared a red alert. Rambai King activates innate skill Blazing Charge. At that critical moment, he raised his hand and snapped his fingers. A slight smile spread across his face. Activate innate skill modify. This is exactly what I was waiting for. Magical energy instantly interfered with the system. Blazing Charge was modified to Blazing Detonation. Details change. Charge using the fire elemental crystal horn on its head to deliver a fire attribute attack now becomes Blazing Detonation, causing the fire elemental crystal horn on its head to explode within its own skull, inflicting massive damage to the enemy and to itself. And so, instead of ramming its enemy, the unlucky Rambai's head suddenly erupted in a blinding flash of light, literally self-destructing. A dazzling explosion ripped through the dungeon space. Ian Zhang stood at the epicenter, brushing some debris off his shirt, smiling smugly. A self-destruct skill. Pretty neat, right? The system panel flashed, signaling his level up from 4 to 5. Outside the training facility, a crowd stared wide-eyed at the electronic announcement board, which now displayed a new record. Everyone stammered. What the hell is this? The massive text flashed rookie training facility minus Rambai zone minus record broken. Record holder Ian Zhang. Time 26 minutes, 2 seconds. Victor Duong's lackey screamed in disbelief. No way. The old record was 1 hour and 17 minutes. He cut the time by more than half. Victor Duong's face instantly darkened, and he gritted his teeth in frustration. How could a double-rank piece of trash clear the stage so fast? He must have cheated. His sycophants immediately chimed in. Cheating in the training facility. If he gets caught, his reputation is toast. He crossed his arms, puffing his chest out like a fake god of justice. Then, let me, Victor Duong, personally rip off his deceitful mask. While chaos ensued outside, Ian Zhang was casually sitting on a rock inside, cooling off as his body glowed with the green light of a healing spell. He muttered, "That's enough. Time to move on to the next stage of the training facility." Memories of his past life brought back the image of a terrifying giant wolf. He thought, the boss of the next stage is on a completely different level. The Gale Wolf King. In my past life, that beast really gave me a run for my money. But now, the tables have turned. He slung his high-quality sword over his shoulder and strode forward, radiating killing intent. This time, it's my turn to collect the principal and the interest. Standing before the imposing building of the next stage, he smirked. Long time no see. Gale Wolf Den, the official slaughterhouse for newbies. It was a known fact that in this area, the regular wolves were already between levels 6-9, while the Wolf King lorded over them at level 10. Meanwhile, new players entering this place were, at best, around levels 1-5. Therefore, for a normal rookie to set foot in here was no different from serving themselves up for slaughter. The aggression of the Gale Wolves was truly terrifying. However, the greater the storm, the sweeter the fruit. The rewards in this base were just as immense as the monster's strength. If one could survive and grind here, the amount of experience gained was the highest for this stage. In fact, just by successfully clearing the stage by killing the Wolf King, a player could jump straight to level 10. Normally, a newbie would have to grind their face off for 10 days to crawl to level 10. But clearing this desolate, deadly base just once was enough to reach the peak of rookie glory. And that's not all. The best reward for reaching level 10 was that the Awakened could unlock a second innate skill. Furthermore, they would officially receive a license to go out into the wilds to hunt and level up on their own. He straightened his clothes. Certain, both of those things are extremely useful for my path to dominance. So the sooner I get them, the better. Back in reality, the knight guarding the gate looked worriedly at the young man, demanding entry. Kid, are you sure you want to challenge this base alone? Normally, even level 8-9 rookies have to bring a party of 6 to even dare come here. He sighed and recounted a tragic tale. There was once a genius rookie who awakened in A-rank class and tried to show off by going solo here. He ended up critically injured. In the end, he couldn't even make it to the university entrance exams. When gentle advice didn't work, the knight's eyes suddenly turned cold. He bluntly stated the harsh reality. "Are you trying to commit suicide? You double-rank piece of trash." Despite being insulted to his face, Iron Jong maintained a calm smile, as serene as a placid lake. "Thank you for your concern, senior, but I've already made up my mind." The knight grumbled as he watched the slender figure calmly walk into the glowing teleportation gate. "Who cares about you? If you want to die, go ahead. I won't stop you." Walking down the dungeon steps, he brushed off his clothes and thought, "I was just thoroughly looked down on." But his eyes turned sharp and determined. "I won't stop on my path to becoming the strongest just because a few stray dogs are barking on the roadside." As soon as he finished his thought, a pack of bloodthirsty beasts smelled fresh meat. They bared their sharp fangs and howled menacingly as they lunged toward their prey. Completely unfazed, the young man immediately drew his sword and charged head-first into the sandstorm of battle. Swinging his sword, which now glinted with the multicolored pixels of the Modify spell, he smirked and roared, "It's been a while. Let's jog my memory and see just how strong you all are." Outside, the night guard was still standing on the observation deck with his arms crossed, shaking his head and muttering, "A double rank. Truly a world-class piece of trash. Does he think that by just blindly rushing in, he'll become a genius? What a clueless, idiotic kid." However, what he saw on the monitor screen was Ian Zhang wielding his sword like he was cutting through mud. Wolves fell in an instant, followed by a stream of notifications. 10 EXP. 10 EXP. The knight stammered. How? How is this possible? How can he fight so effortlessly? Cold sweat beaded on his forehead as he stared with wide, horrified eyes. He hasn't even used his class's innate skills yet. His hands gripped the iron railing until his knuckles turned white. All the knight's prejudices completely crumbled. He trembled and wondered, that kid, could he really be a hidden genius? A while later, in the dark dungeon, fresh blood stained the cold ground. Yun Jong sat perched atop a mountain of wolf corpses, his sword stuck in the ground as he panted for breath. Outside, the guard knight's eyes were wide as he stammered, sweat pouring down his face like rain. He really is a genius. Remembering his earlier contemptuous attitude, he quickly and frantically looked for a way out. I can't stay here any longer. I just mocked him. What if he comes out and sees me? I'll die of embarrassment. Back in the dungeon, Ian Xiang's body glowed with a healing green light. He muttered, the combat intensity here is still too high. If it weren't for my recover skills, I would have died 800 times over. The system panel showed Ian Zhang, LV 9, I 0.01% to next level. Gazing over the bloody battlefield, he assessed, these wolves are several times stronger than the Rambis. Their speed, strength, and intelligence are on a completely different level. Clutching his bleeding arm, he gritted his teeth against the pain. Even with recovery, the pain from these wounds hasn't lessened at all. But that doesn't matter. He pulled his sword from a wolf's corpse, his eyes flashing with absolute determination. A massive shadow loomed as he roared. If I want to change the world and my own destiny, what's a little pain like this? Now, it's time for a battle between kings. Ahead, the wolf king bared its gruesome jaws, its chilling green eyes fixed on him as it stalked forward. An info panel immediately dropped down Gale Wolf King. LV 10. King of low-level magic beasts. Born with fur that resonates with the wind element, allowing it to borrow the power of the wind to achieve terrifying movement speed. Beads of sweat formed on his forehead as Ian Zhang mentally analyzed the situation. This Wolf King has two skills, Wind Speed and Wind Blade Claws. The system displayed its overpowered stats. Wind Speed increases self-speed by 20 points. Wind Blade Claws launches wind claws from a distance, dealing 110% physical damage. Too broken. He frowned, considering carefully. There aren't many openings to use Modify on these two skills. If I just try to force it, I might end up screwing myself over. The beast roared, kicked off the ground, and charged forward like a storm. He pondered, so, what should I do in this situation? Rip! Ian Zhang tore off his tattered shirt. What else? I'll just handle this the way a real man would. The sharp wind blade claws tore through the air toward him. He smirked arrogantly, unflexed. Besides possessing a god-tier innate skill, I am also the top student in the entire school in both academics and practical combat. You brat. As he finished speaking, he raised his sword and charged straight at the monster. Quick cut to the outside of the Rambai zone. Victor Duel and his lackeys were standing there, panting, their faces pale as sheets. Damn, that was close. Good thing we called for help in time. Hogar, it feels so good to be alive. The night guard stood with his hands on his hips, scolding the overconfident newbies. Why did you bunch of rookies dare to wander into the advanced zone? Why can't you just obediently level up in the basic zone? Seething with humiliation, Victor Duong ground his teeth. Why couldn't I even make it to the boss zone with a full party? How the hell did that piece of trash Shi Unjong clear the stage? In his anger, he punched a poor lackey in the chest. He definitely cheated. 100%. Suddenly, the electronic board beeped, signaling that the Gale Wolf Den record had just been broken. It was Ian John again, with a time of 29 minutes and 8 seconds. The lackeys panicked. Boss, the old record was 1 hour and 29 minutes. Ian John cut it down by a whole hour, staring at the brightly lit screen. Victor Duong's entire being radiated an insane level of jealousy. His face twisted into a vicious smile. Very good. If you're going to cheat this blatantly, then don't blame me for being ruthless in the next step. He jerked his head, ordering his lackeys to fall. Let's go. Head to the Gale Wolf Den to cheer on our dear classmate. This time, I'll make sure you're utterly and completely disgraced. The camera pans back into the dungeon. A bloody sword was plunged through the massive skull of the Wolf King. The battle was over, under the brilliant golden light of the level-up matrix. A shirtless, muscular Ian Jong panted. Finally, made it to level 10. His second innate skill was officially awakened. The system chimed with notifications: added craftsman system innate skill durability. Acquired. Added farmer system innate skill grafting. Acquired. Current level LV10. Progress 0.3%. HP 220. Mana 1900. Spirit 245. Attack 210. Armor pen 5. Defense 134. Speed 210. Mana comp 100%. Awakened classes craftsman. Farmer. Skills modify. Rebirth. Durability new. Grafting new. A faint smile appeared on the scarred young man's face as he muttered in satisfaction. Finally got this skill. Let's do this. Activate innate skill modify. Click. The skill grafting has been enchanted and transformed into graft all things. The system flashed red, announcing that a god-tier skill used to hybridize ultimate contract beasts had officially fallen into his hands. A detailed explanation appeared: graft all things. LV 1. Cost 200 mana. Grasp the genes of 2 creatures to randomly create a new superior life from or a failure. Current success rate 10%. Note, the higher the level, the more species can be grafted, and the greater the chance of creating a divine beast. Stroking his chin, envisioning the future, Ian Jong thought contentedly. When this skill reaches max level 10, the success rate for creating a superior being will be an absolute 100%. Although there are some limitations, this is still the most unbeatable god-tier talent. He imagined flying magic beasts. Already powerful beasts could gain even stronger racial abilities. Creating a heaven-defying S-rank beast using 2A rank ones is highly possible. His smile grew even more cunning. And that's not all. If I use a beast tamer skill scroll to form a contract, I'll have the most loyal and ferocious battle pet. Remembering old grudges, his eyes turned incredibly cold. The great achievements you all stole by exploiting me in my past life. The image of his ragged past self kneeling to repair equipment for the powerful elite surfaced from his dark memories. Clutching the bloody hilt of the sword to his chest, he roared in his mind. In this life, it will all become my own. Absolute power. The shirtless young man slung the sword over his shoulder, looked at the pile of wolf corpses, and nodded. Not a bad harvest. It's probably time to head back. Suddenly, a glowing green stone fell from a corpse, making his eyes light up. It even dropped a magic crystal. These things sell for a lot of money. The drop rate is super low, but enchanting equipment with it gives an insanely powerful effect. He clicked his tongue in regret. Too bad the magic crystals dropped in the training facility belong to the association. But that's okay. Now that I'm level 10, I have the privilege to step out into the wilderness beyond the demonic rift. Thinking of the freedom to hunt, his face beamed. Any magic crystals or materials I find out there will go straight into my pocket. My money problems are about to be solved for good. As he was daydreaming, a sharp pain brought him back to reality. Ouch. This wound isn't fatal, so the rebirth talent won't activate to heal it. Going to the hospital would cost a fortune. And right now I'm broke. He stared at the bloody gash on his chest, and a crazy thought crossed his mind. Maybe the best way right now is to stab myself to activate rebirth and get a full heal. Glancing at the knights cleaning up nearby, he quickly dismissed the dark idea. But if I suddenly pull out a sword and slit my own throat in front of these guards, it'll definitely cause a huge scene. Nodding to himself, he turned and decided, yeah, it's best to find a secluded spot and quietly end my own life. With that thought, the young man with a truly unique healing method casually strolled out of the dungeon gate, sword in hand. The moment he stepped out into the plaza, a surprisingly large crowd came into view. He blinked in confusion, wondering, strange, why are there so many people here all of a sudden? Before he could figure it out, a student in the crowd excitedly pointed and shouted, look, it's Xianzhang, the rookie who just set a new record. He clicked his tongue, realizing his unintentional fame. So, these upperclassmen were drawn here because of my record-breaking stunt. The crowd started to gather, growing larger. He broke into a cold sweat and thought, there are too many people here. There's no way I can pull out a sword and kill myself to activate rebirth now. The wound, exposed to the air, started to bleed more heavily. He gritted his teeth, enduring the pain. The injury is getting worse. If I stab myself in front of all these people, I'll definitely be sent straight to a mental hospital. Clutching his chest, he pushed through the noisy crowd, looking for a way to slip away. I have to shake off this nosy crowd. Just as he was stuck, a brilliant golden light in the shape of angel wings suddenly descended from the sky. The entire crowd gasped in awe, their eyes wide as they shouted, that's the S-rank support class. Holy Angel! In the midst of the dazzling halo, a breathtakingly beautiful female student with glowing wings appeared. The young lady of the Yao family. Hannah Yao. The boys in the crowd immediately started whispering excitedly. She's from the prestigious Yao family. I can't believe the goddess herself came here. A warm magical light enveloped Xianzhang, instantly soothing all his pain. He let out a soft sigh of relief. Wow, this magic is a huge help. The goddess retracted her wings, her long eyelashes fluttering as she looked at the record breaker covered in injuries with an expression as calm as a lake. Feeling the refreshing sensation spread through his body, Xianzhang nodded politely. My wounds are almost completely healed. Thank you. He smiled and made a very practical offer. You've healed me this time, so in the future, I'll repair your equipment for free. It just so happens that a support skill is exactly what I desperately need but don't have. Maybe we can have a long-term partnership. Hearing repairman, Hannah didn't show any contempt, but simply smiled gently. Don't worry about such a small thing. Then, if my equipment breaks in the future, I'll have to count on you. The romantic atmosphere didn't even last 3 seconds before a sharp voice cut in. Victor Duong aggressively pushed through the crowd. Tsuke, Tsuke, Tsuke. Look who it is. If it isn't the cheating mutt. He pointed a finger, craning his neck to roar at the gathering crowd. Everyone, don't be fooled by this punk. He smugly tilted his chin to the sky, loudly putting him down. His record-breaking clear time was actually just cheap cheating, because at his core, he's just a piece of trash with 2 rank classes. The surrounding crowd gasped, whispering amongst themselves. What? And rank awakened? Rank is a production class. They don't have any combat ability. Their whispers grew louder, and he cleared the stage solo, and even broke the record? Sensing public opinion turning toward Xianzhang, Victor Duong confidently put his hands on his hips and loudly declared, that's completely impossible, unless he bought a set of super overpowered equipment to hack the game. He took a step forward, getting right in Xianzhang's face, a smirk full of contempt on his lips. After 3 tough years of high school where you couldn't beat me, now you resort to this pathetic, dirty trick to get one over on me? He gestured toward Xianzhang, loudly demeaning him in front of everyone. Everyone here knows this guy is dirt poor. He pointed a finger straight at his rival, viciously exposing him. This proves he's not poor at all. He's been cheating the school's financial aid system all this time to buy that equipment. The crowd instantly turned on him, whispering angrily, cheating financial aid for the poor? How disgusting. IW. So that's the truth? Jong crossed his arms, closed his eyes, and let out a sarcastic laugh. Interesting. So you want me to prove that I didn't cheat? Is that it? Taking the bait, Victor Duong triumphantly roared. That's right. Take off your hacking equipment and fight me right now. He jabbed a thumb at his own chest, issuing an arrogant challenge. If you win, it proves you didn't cheat. Just as the atmosphere grew tense, Hana anxiously stepped in front of Jong. Ian? Don't fall for his trap. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Jong just smiled back at her, scratching his head in embarrassment. Thanks for worrying about me. But the young man suddenly pulled out his sword and slammed it into the ground. His smile vanished, replaced by a razor-sharp gaze. Fine, I accept your challenge. His eyes became as sharp as a razor as he muttered to himself. It's best to deal with this thorn in my side right here. Right now, before he causes more trouble and gets in the way of my leveling. Hearing his agreement, Victor Duong threw his head back and laughed. Ridiculous. A piece of trash dares to challenge an A-rank berserker? Victor Duong activated his rage skill, his entire body glowing red. He yelled, Jong, I'm going to knock all your teeth out and drip the fake mask right off your face. No rage skill burns 1% HP per minute to buff all stats by 30%. Jong leisurely stepped out of the dungeon gate. He smirked and tossed a light remark at the other guy. You seem pretty fired up. I hope you can still run that mouth of yours in a bit. Looking coldly at the fuming opponent before him, Jong silently mocked him. Trying to crush me with the label of a superior class? Too bad for you. For you, class is the ultimate weapon. But for me, it's just decorative frosting on a cake. He cracked his knuckles and calmly declared, Let me teach you a proper lesson. A truly strong person is strong even without awakening a class. The man tensed up, his red aura flaring like an erupting volcano, preparing to charge and tear him apart. Hannah stood on the sidelines, her face pale with worry, her hands clasped tightly together. Pitting a rank production class against an A-rank combat class. This fight is completely unfair. Ignoring her pleas, Jong took a fighting stance, his eyes unusually calm. All I need to do right now is knock you out. Luckily, before I left the base, I used Modify to return all my equipment to its original state. Jong spread his arms wide, presenting a completely unarmed appearance. Casually, he thought, so I'm not worried at all that they'll find anything unusual. Right now, I don't have a single piece of equipment on me. Seeing his opponent barehanded, Victor Duong charged forward with a crazed smile. Good. Your end has finally come. He threw a fiery red punch past Jong's face, but Ian dodged it as lightly as a feather. The lackey's jaws dropped. He dodged it. Victor Duong went berserk, unleashing a storm of consecutive punches. I don't believe it. He roared in frustration. I can't believe you can dodge every single one of my punches. The blazing punches continuously tore through the air. Jong calmly weaved left and right, fluttering like a butterfly in a garden, thinking, an A-rank berserker truly is a powerful class. Jong just gave a faint smile, but throwing punches blindly without hitting anything is just a waste of effort. He continued to dodge an uppercut, thinking, swinging your fists around like this will only waste your stamina. After 3 years together in school, I know your brutish fighting style like the back of my hand. Seizing the moment his opponent lost his balance, Jong clenched his fist and delivered a steel punch straight into the middle of Victor Duong's face. But you have never seen through me. Hey sharp son, echoed. He took a direct hit. Blood sprayed from his nose. Teeth went flying, and he stumbled back several steps, roaring in pain. What the? How is this possible? The powerful punch sent the berserker flying backward, landing with a loud thud on the ground in front of hundreds of stunned eyes. The lackeys panicked and screamed. Boss! Jong stood dusting off his hands and delivered a devastatingly calm remark. It seems that in the end, I'm still one step above you. The crowd murmured in disbelief. The sycophants clutched their heads in despair. This is impossible. And rank production class just knocked out an A-rank berserker? After dealing with his nemesis, Yeon-jong casually brushed his hands off. So that's settled. No reason to waste any more time here. Slinging his sword over his shoulder, he strode away with his head held high, parting the crowd. He calculated, next, I'll head out into the wilderness. First, I need to get myself some decent equipment. The corner of his mouth curved into a confident line. With the modify skill in hand, getting top-tier equipment is no problem at all. He rubbed his chin, thinking, but I've already returned the novice gear the association gave me. So the first step is to buy some cheap items to use as a base for modification. I should probably check out the street stalls. Pulling out his wallet, he grimaced at the few lonely coins lying in his palm. But with this empty wallet, even just browsing the stalls is a difficult challenge. Suddenly, a can came flying from behind, aimed straight at his head. Without a hint of panic, Yeon-jong casually reached out and caught it in an instant. He glanced at the person who threw it. Came down to your usual cat-like tricks. Huh? Shane Fang casually walked over, laughing. Impressive, as expected from the one who dominated the top spot in both academics and combat for 3 straight years. He raised a hand in a friendly greeting to his rival. Catch this. Popping open the can, Yeon-jong took a sip and asked bluntly, when I was beating up Victor Duong earlier, you were watching. Were you? Shane Feng shrugged. Of course. If you hadn't been able to handle him, I would have had to step in and save you. Shane's gaze suddenly turned serious. After all, you're the only opponent I acknowledge. I wouldn't even bother with trash like Victor Duong. Yeon-jong smirked, replying with a hidden meaning. But I wasn't fighting seriously back then. That sentence brought them both back to their duel in the 10th grade finals. Back then, a beaten and bruised Shane Feng raised his hand in surrender. I give up. Back in the present, Yeon-jong tilted his head back and took a gulp of water. Teasing. Ever since that match, you've forfeited every year. He looked at his classmate, his voice lowering sincerely. You intentionally gave me the first place scholarship, didn't you? After all, you're the young master of a ridiculously wealthy family. You don't need that spare change. Shane Feng laughed, waving his hand dismissively. Not at all. It's simply because the look in your eyes when you fight is just ruthless. Yeon-jong's eyes narrowed, probing. So if we face each other in the national rookie tournament this year, are you planning to surrender again? Shane Feng flashed a bright, yet competitive smile. In your dreams, that's absolutely not happening. This year, I'm going to punch you so hard your teeth will be too scattered to pick up. The two teenagers' eyes met, sparking with fiery passion. Yeon-jong clinked his can against an imaginary one. All right then. I'll face you with everything I've got. With that, Shane Feng suddenly pulled out a powerful black card and tossed it to Yeon-jong. There's 2,000 yuan in here. Consider it me buying your lightning-fast clear strategy for the Gale Wolf Den. The wealthy young master turned to leave, not forgetting to wave. Remember to write down that strategy and give it to me soon. Catching the black card, Yeon-jong watched his friend's departing figure and replied softly. You got it. He smiled faintly, engraving this favor in his heart. I'll remember this debt of gratitude. One day, I'll definitely repay you tenfold. Putting the card in his pocket, his mood brightened considerably. Now that I have some funding, I can finally take a stroll around the street stalls. His steps became hurried and excited. He licked his lips. Let's see what treasures are waiting for me to snatch up. Soon, he was lost in the bustling underground black market. It was dim but crowded with people. Walking past the makeshift stalls, he scanned his memories. This is the cheapest black market I remember. Most of the stuff here is basic trash. The chance of finding gold among the sand is extremely slim. But his eyes sharpened like a hunting falcon. It's not entirely impossible. Stopping at a rather strange-looking stall, the owner, wearing sunglasses, sat with his arms crossed next to a crudely written cardboard sign "Old Weapons for Sale." What immediately caught Yeon-jong's eye was a greatsword radiating a chilling aura. A frost demon sword enchanted with a Gale Wolf magic crystal. The info panel reported a rank equipment. LV 10. Durability 70%. Melee attacks have a slowing frost effect. Pretty decent. Seeing a customer looking, the stall owner immediately quoted a firm price. 18. Zharo yuan. Final price. If its durability was at 100%, I'd sell it for at least 25. Zaro. Yeon-jong broke into a cold sweat and groaned internally. I knew it. It's a total rip-off. Shifting his gaze to a crappy, rusty sword stuck beside it, he asked, "What about this one?" The lazy vendor replied, "That one's 5.0. The system announced bronze sword. E-rank. Durability 62%. Ian Jiang's lips twitched into a smirk. He launched a lightning-fast bargain. "If I repair the durability of that frost demon sword to its maximum, you have to give me this bronze sword for free. Deal?" The stall owner was startled and pulled down his sunglasses, staring at the high school kid. "Huh? You think you can do that?" Without another word, Ian Jiang mentally prompted the system, activating the durability skill. A sphere of magical light appeared in his hand, illuminating the street corner. "Whether it works or not, it won't hurt to try, right, bro?" Though he appeared calm, this sly young man was already scheming. My target was never that frost demon sword in the first place. His eyes were locked on the rusty, crappy sword, gleaming with greed. My real target is the azure steel sword hidden within it. Because once that item was in his hands, with just a basic use of his divine modify skill, that scrap metal sword would instantly transform into a legendary, world-shaking divine weapon. The vendor was still half believing, half doubting. He pushed up his sunglasses and scrutinized him. "What's your class rank, kid? Do you really have the durability skill?" Restoring a weapon's durability requires extremely high precision. The difficulty is no joke. You know, the stall owner smirked contemptuously, glancing at the bright orb of light in Ian Jiang's hand before declaring, "Repairman, in rank skill type class." He puffed out his chest proudly, lecturing the student. "I'm also a skill type class, and a Drake blacksmith at that," pointing to the junk on his tarp. He acted like a senior giving advice. "I know more about weapons than you, but even I can't guarantee I can restore its durability. I'm only telling you this because you're a student." In reality, Ian Jiang was well aware of a fundamental principle of this world of weapons durability. Once it drops to 0, it's completely broken, he muttered, assessing the situation like a true expert. And restoring durability requires sensing the weapon's structure, understanding the magic within it, and only then can it be reconstructed. The man in sunglasses continued his half-threatening sales pitch. "If the repair fails, the durability will drop even more. So if you break it, you have to pay me 18. Zirith, how about it?" Hannah, who was watching from the crowd, suddenly muttered in agreement. "That vendor isn't wrong. Even the brink craftsmen in my family's guild can't easily restore a weapon's durability." Ian Jiang didn't bother with pointless arguments. He simply placed his hand on the blade and issued a challenge. "Then you better open your eyes and watch closely." The magical light flared dazzlingly. He smirked with the pride of a regressor. "In my past life, the things I fixed for the big shots were all A rank, and even S rank. Treasures, you know." Memories of his past grinding flooded back as he performed the skill. Normally, those who awaken the rank repairman class would just give up and lie flat. But my past self, due to my habit of always wanting to do things perfectly, risked my life to hone this durability skill. And Ian Jiang flashed a radiant, confident smile. "And now, that very habit is one of my most powerful trump cards." The flow of mana was smooth and controlled under his expert guidance. "Fixing these low-level, beat-up pieces of equipment is as easy as flipping my hand." The surrounding crowd gasped, immediately erupting in awe. "Amazing! He's just a student. But his technique is so smooth. How did a rank class produce a master like him?" Hannah also stared without blinking. "I thought he was just being polite when he offered to repair my equipment." "I can't believe he can actually do it." Ian Jiang pulled his hand back and casually handed over the perfectly polished item. "Here, it's done." The stall owner hastily took off his sunglasses, caressing the sword as if he had just struck gold. "My brother, this old man was blind. You are truly a rare talent." Keeping his promise, though his heart ached with regret, he pushed the rusty bronze sword into Ian's hand. "Take it. This is yours now." Ian Jiang was celebrating internally. He turned to leave with a faint smile. Then, "Thank you very much. Next, I just need to modify one word, and it will instantly become a pseudo-divine weapon." Instantly, his hand glowed as the divine modify skill activated. The system announced that the name had been changed. The character for bronze was swapped with azure, and the bronze sword was renamed the Azure Steel Sword. The magnificent beauty of the sword shone brightly in the mind of the ambitious youth. That is the legendary ancient sword that once accompanied a divine general through life and death, cutting an undoubt of enemy encirclement tests, storing the priceless treasure away. The young man began a very practical household economic calculation. I have a weapon now. I can probably save the 2,000 yuan in my pocket. After all, I still have to pay a huge tuition fee for university. His gaze softened as he remembered his little sister. Because of our parents' sudden passing, my sister still hasn't been able to overcome the shock. He sighed heavily, the weight of being an older brother on his shoulders. Although I know her future will be extraordinary, right now she's just a withdrawn little girl. Before I go to university, I need to prepare some living expenses for this silly girl. Student Tianzhang, can I hire you to power level me? His train of thought was interrupted. Tianzhang turned his head, his brows furrowed in curiosity. This voice sounds so familiar. It was the beautiful girl from the crowd earlier. She offered a number that nearly made the young man choke. If you agree, I can pay you 50,000 yuan. Just get me to level 10. How could Tianzhang possibly refuse such a sweet deal? Of course, that's fine. The girl sighed in relief. Great. He flashed a businesslike smile, inwardly celebrating as if he'd hit the jackpot. Just what I needed. Money is practically knocking on my door. And she wasn't done yet. The young, wealthy lady immediately turned back to the weapon stall for some shopping. Shopkeeper, I'll take that frost demon sword. The stall owner quickly put on his arrogant air again, quoting a skyge price. 25. Zirith, its durability is 100% now. Are you sure you want to buy it? Miss? Hannah casually pulled a stack of cash out of thin air and handed it to him, making him jump and break into a cold sweat. Count it. The stall owner's jaw dropped. Storage ring. She's the young lady of a prestigious, noble family. The stall owner was now bowing subservient lie, carefully presenting the frost demon sword with both hands as if making a divine offering. Please accept it, young lady. Ian glanced at the sycophantic display and clicked his tongue. These street vendors have clearly never seen real money before. From the way this girl is dressed, you can tell it's all expensive brands. How else would I believe she could swipe me 50,000 yuan? After paying, Hannah struggled to carry the massive greatsword with both hands, looking quite pitiful as she stumbled along. But Tianzhang was busy plotting something much bigger in his head, while power-flaving her. Maybe I can also make use of her support skills. I could challenge the boss I never dared to face in my past life. Maybe I'll even gain another level. Struggling to walk up to him, the girl panted, shyly offering the sword. Tianzhang. This weapon. Consider it a mating gift. Please don't refuse. Tianzhang was stunned for a second. His heart slightly moved. She even bought it for me? This young lady seems to be very well-mannered and considerate, not bothering to play hard to get. The young man reached out and took the frost demon sword as if it were light as a feather. Then I won't be polite. The girl smiled softly in reply. Thank you. Hanaya watched his back, her eyes shining with the general, calculated gaze of a well-bred young lady. It's good that he likes it, even though he's only in rank class. I always have a feeling that this person's future is immeasurably bright. I'll help him out first and consider it forming a good connection. With a new weapon in hand, Tianzhang slung the sword over his shoulder, full of fighting spirit as he took the lead. We can't delay. I'll take you straight to the rookie training zone now. The girl happily nodded and followed. Okay. Soon, they were both standing before the massive structure of the rookie training facility. Without another word, Tianzhang charged in, slaughtering ram by monsters like mincing meat. The experience points jumped so fast that Hannah had to exclaim. So fast! The leisurely girl, just by leeching EXP, shot up from level 3 to level 5 in an instant. Riding the wave of victory, his sword swung up and split a large gale wolf in two. The system immediately flashed with announcements read alert Tianzhang. Hannah Yao break the clear time record for the ram by den. Tianzhang Hannah Yao break the clear time record for the gale wolf den. The golden honor board in the center of the training area flickered continuously, displaying the names of the two who had just swept through and set new records. The students watching below were dumbfounded, whispering amongst themselves, is it that monster Tianzhang breaking records again? This time, it looks like he brought a girl with him. Hannah Yao. Could she be from the illustrious Yao family? A-Day's young man scratched his head and asked, which Yao family? Making his friend next to him stare in shock. because that family was so powerful that anyone who heard the name would tremble with awe. It's one of the top 10 national merchant guilds. The Great Power Trading Guild. The owner of that massive guild has the surname Yao. On a battlefield of golden sand, the young lady of the Yao family leaned on her staff, panting, her legs feeling like jelly. I'm just a tiny bit away from level 10. Should we rest for a bit? Zhang turned back, replying without a shred of pity. Keep walking and resting. With your current physical constitution, it shouldn't be a problem. His status panel showed he had reached level 13. A great ambition burned in Nianjiang's eyes as the image of a terrifying monster appeared in his mind. Now that I have her massive S-rank support buff, I want to go and challenge. A wild smile spread across the daring teenager's lips. The only base in all the rookie training zones that reaches a sea-level danger rating the Umbral Boar base. Shortly after, the two of them stood before a massive, sturdy gate that emanated a dark, deadly aura. Boar training base. The supervisor saw him and advised. Zhang, I know you're very skilled. Even though you've swept through and broken the clear time records of the other bases, the Umbral Boar King, its lethality is far more dangerous than the Rambai and the Gale Wolf. Zhang, with his sword on his back, shrugged as if he owned the world. The greater the risk, the greater the reward. If you never dare to take a gamble, you'll never get a better opportunity. He glanced at the girl timidly hugging her magic staff beside him and concluded smugly. What's more, I now have an S-rank support nanny with me. This is truly a once-in-a-millennium opportunity. The dazzling gate of light opened, and the supervisor sighed, stepping aside. Well then, good luck to you both. Zhang strode in, his demeanor as heroic as a god out for a stroll. I'll borrow the teacher's parting words. Stepping through the gate, the two found themselves in a dense, eerily quiet forest. Hannah looked around nervously. Hey, why aren't there any small monsters blocking the way? Zhang stopped, his gaze becoming as sharp as a hawk locking onto its prey. Because in this space, small monsters don't exist. There's only one boss here. Hannah's face turned pale. She gulped and stammered. Only one boss here. The ground suddenly began to tremble violently. Zhang reached out and gripped the hilt of his frost demon sword. His voice dropped to a chilling whisper. It's here. A colossal black shadow loomed, bringing with it a suffocating pressure that enveloped the entire space. Hannah trembled and backed away, exclaiming, That monster is huge. Meanwhile, Zhang smirked, his fighting spirit boiling over. Now this is a worthy opponent. The Boar King roared, showing its dominance, its eyes flashing with a deadly, crimson light. The system's info panel immediately appeared with a warning Umbral Fire Wild Boar King. LV 15. Innate skill Umbral Fire Charge. It wields a tyrannical green flame with a temperature of up to 200 degrees Celsius. He got into a ready stance and coolly instructed his support in the back. Get ready. Cast Holy Light Healing on me. Hannah nodded seriously. Yes? Without letting his opponent make a move, Zhang shot forward like an arrow, ready to face the powerful beast. He leapt into the air, channeling all his strength into his legs. I have to seize the initiative. His sword swung up in a sharp crescent arc, used gravity undertational force to cut off its head. However, the cunning boar seemed to have sniffed out his killing intent and quickly tilted its head up to block. The two forces collided, sending sparks flying in Midra. Zhang frowned, calculating his next move. It jumped up. This way. I can't cut its neck. This boar is pretty smart. However, in a moment of difficulty, a clever idea came to this sly young man. But I can seize this moment in the air too. Modify the name of the Azure Steel Sword. Hannah Yao will definitely not notice. His eyes flashed with a magical light, and the familiar incantation sounded with authority. Activate skill modify. A shimmering golden light enveloped the blade. The character for Azure was bent into crimson. Zhang smirked and roared. Azure Steel Sword. Change to Crimson Steel Sword. You may be able to block the Azure Steel Sword, but you absolutely cannot block the Crimson Steel Sword. In the blink of an eye, the scrap item had been upgraded to an A-rank treasure, the Crimson Steel Sword. 0. Quality AA. Level 10. Introduction, a replica of a legendary Fierce General's sword. But, even as a replica, it possesses great power. Attributes: attack 300, armor penetration 90, agility 60, Passive cuts iron like mud, pseudo 3% chance to ignore the opponent's armor and cut it directly. The young man rationally analyzed, as expected. Even the divine modify skill can't directly ignore the laws of physics to create a true divine weapon. Even so, for him, this was already a super profitable investment. But for now, this is more than enough. Attack power increased fivefold, plus bonus armor penetration and agility, and even a heaven-defying passive. At this moment, the crimson steel sword swung down, as if to tear the sky apart. Now, the advantage is mine. The cold, sharp blade slashed horizontally, effortlessly slicing off the monster's massive, steel-hard tusk. The king of the wild boars let out a tragic scream of extreme pain. The green flames on its body flared wildly with rage. Quick as a flash, Ian Zhang took the opportunity to change the sword back to its original state, muttering carefully, "Change it back. Can't let Hannah Yao see any openings." Witnessing everything from a distance, Hannah couldn't believe her eyes. Is this the power an E-rank weapon can achieve? It cut off the monster's hardest tusk with one strike. The young lady's brain began to concoct a deified scenario. No, absolutely not. It's not because of the E-rank weapon. It's because of Ian Zhang. Her eyes, filled with adoration, gazed at the steady figure. It's because he himself is too strong and rank class who can break so many records. His combat skills must surely surpass those of ordinary combat-type classes. Ian Zhang turned to look at her dazed expression and broke into a cold sweat, thinking, she seems to be overthinking things in a very strange way. But why is she just standing there spaced out? He quickly shouted to wake up his daydreaming support. "Hey, cast holy light on me. If you don't, and I kill this boar with my next attack, you won't get any share of the experience." Hannah snapped back to reality, hastily raising her staff to cast the spell. Right. Thanks for the reminder. Holy light, instantly enveloped in a super-powered, warm glow. Ian Zhang charged forward, his killing intent surging. Now, let's finish this boar king. He continued to explore his own unorthodox playstyle. Using the modify skill as an instantaneous burst attack can be considered a new method of offense. Staring at the frost demon saber in his hand, his fingers started to itch again. For the next blow, let's try modifying its name. What can I change Frost Demon Saber into? Demon God, Demon King, or maybe God Frost Saber? But he paused for a second, his cool head dismissing the wild thought. The specs of that name are too high. Either the modification will fail, or it could backfire on me. It's best not to risk it. On the other side, the Boar King had gone berserk. Its entire body was engulfed in raging green flames as it prepared to unleash its ultimate attack. Umbral Fire, while Boar King activates innate skill Umbral Fire Charge. Ian Zhang calmly gripped the hilt of his sword, fearlessly facing death. Right on time. I wanted to end this battle too. A sacred flame shot forward like a rocket, intending to crush everything in its path. Facing that nightmare, the young man smirked with extreme cunning. Umbral Fire Charge. Huh? What would be a good thing to change you into? I've got it. That's the one. Ian Zhang slightly tilted his head back and warned. Hannah Yao, close your eyes. Hannah was utterly bewildered, blinking foolishly as she asked, "Why?" Ian Zhang put on the air of an experienced senior, slowly speaking to protect the beauty's eyes. "Trust me, you definitely don't want to see what happens next." Hannah obediently squeezed her eyes shut, trembling as she asked, Is it going to be very bloody?" "Oh, okay then." He calmly raised a finger in front of the ferocious flame that was about to engulf him. The vocabulary-bending mage snapped his fingers, pronouncing a death sentence full of comedic timing. Activate skill modify. Change its Umbral Fire Charge to Umbral Fire Slow-Mo. The system let out a pleasant chime. Modification successful. The fearsome, tyrannical Umbral Fire attack suddenly slowed to a snail's pace. The Boar King was bewildered. Huh? Now, a slow-moving boar poses no threat at all. Ian Zhang leapt into the air, a judgmental smile on his face. It's over. At the same time, the system flashed modified back to Crimson Steel Sword. A massive, dazzling golden arc of sword light tore through the dark night. Thud. The monster split and uncollapsed. A bright red announcement declared its death. Umbral Fire Wild Boar King has been slain. Experience points poured in like a waterfall. Ian Zhang stretched happily, leveled up twice in a row, from 14 to 15. As expected of the strongest boss in the rookie training zone. Behind him, Hannah Yao was also bathed in the brilliant light of leveling up. She stammered in disbelief. I leveled up. And 3 times in a row. From level 9 straight to 12. Yeonjong, did you really just kill that one monster? In truth, the sly young man was casually walking over, scratching his chin and calculating. I told her to close her eyes to prevent her from discovering I used the modify skill. Looking at the innocent young lady, he gave her a perfect 10 for quality. She's obedient, has money, and knows how to heal. She's truly a rare and good teammate. In the future, when I need a party for dungeons, I can put her on the consideration list. He spoke broadly, putting on a professional air. You can open your eyes now. The leveling mission you entrusted to me is complete. Hannah timidly opened her large, clear eyes, which still held a trace of fear. What met her eyes was the colossal corpse of the once majestic Boar King. She was so shocked she held her breath. Hey, he really did it. Right now, the young lady's mind was filled with fireworks of admiration. He single-handedly slew this powerful monster. How amazing! Yeonjong casually slung his sword over his shoulder and started walking. Mission complete. Shall we head out? Hannah quickly ran to catch up. Yes. Looking at his cold, ruthless back, Hannah's mind once again conjured up a dazzling image. He truly is a rare talent. And on top of that, he's a kind, gentle person with a strong sense of contract. Suddenly remembering something important, she quickly called out to stop him. PL, please wait a moment. Yeonjong raised an eyebrow and turned his head. Hannah timidly presented a small box. This is the payment I promised you, along with a small token of my gratitude. Yeonjong's eyes widened, instantly recognizing the high-quality item. Hey, storage ring. It was a known fact that these were made from a type of crystal containing permanent spatial magic. Storage rings were high-end items that could ignore all laws of physics to store things. Though he was drooling over it, the young man maintained his cool demeanor and waved his hand in refusal. This gift of yours is too valuable. I can't accept it. A storage ring with just 1 cubic meter of space could sell for several 100,000 yuan. Hannah resolutely pushed it towards him, her sincere eyes filled with earnestness. You need it more than I do. I can tell. You helped me level up to extra times. This is the reward you deserve. Yeonjong clicked his tongue. That's a very reasonable excuse. I'll be heading out of the city to level up soon, and this thing would be incredibly convenient. He decisively reached out and accepted the luxury item. All right, then I'll accept it. But the fair-dealing nature of a strong person emerged. He stated his terms with dignity. To compensate, in the future, as long as it doesn't go against my principles, I can help you with one thing. No questions asked. With the transaction complete, the two walked leisurely through the dimly lit forest. Let's go. The leveling is done. Let's get out of here first. Hannah happily nodded. Okay. The moment they stepped out of the base, the air was buzzing with discussion around the ranking board. The competition on the rookie level ranking board is fierce this year. After all, our Namdong city has an especially large number of S rank and A rank main combat classes this year. I heard Namdong know. 7 high school awakened 3 combat classes at once. Looking at his name, Yeonjong, LV15, sitting comfortably at the top. He crossed his arms and calmly analyzed. Although I'm in first place right now, I'll probably be caught up to very quickly. After all, the ones chasing me are all top-tier class awakeners. Those geniuses were indeed no joke. Liu Feng, for Namdong no. 3 high, a master of both academics and combat. Awakened the S ranks or Saint class. Nicknamed the Invincible Melee Fighter. Roman Zhang, from Namdong no. 9 high, top of his class. Awakened the A rank Violent Flame Fist Master, with extremely high attack power. Leon Liu, an S rank Swift Wind Assassin, an extremely agile elemental melee class, specializing in surprise attacks. A thrill of a seasoned hunter lit up in Yin Jiang's eyes. They were all dazzling figures in my past life. If I want to climb to the top of Namdong City's top 100 list, they will definitely be obstacles in my path. A smile full of pride and anticipation curved his lips. For now, I'm greatly looking forward to the moment I get to fight all of you. But for now, his eyes suddenly flashed. An image of his family appeared in his mind. Jeong's gaze softened, and his thoughts brought him back to a painful reality. I have to go home for a bit. Memories of his past life returned like a knife scud. In my past life, I was taken away and exploited by the powerful, leaving my sister to grow up all alone. Reborn in this life, I must make up for this regret. He waved goodbye to his newly acquainted wealthy friend with a decisive air. I have some business to attend to, so I'll be leaving first. Hana obediently waved back, reluctant to see him go. Goodbye. Let's party up for a dungeon again when we have the chance. Under the setting sun, the teenager's silhouette gradually disappeared into the dilapidated, scarred slum. In my past life, after I was taken away, I never once got to return home. News of my sister was always just bits and pieces fed to me by others. Although he knew very well the immense potential of that girl, even though in the future, she awakened an extremely powerful A-rank combat class. The joy jom of today. The soft sound of the door opening broke the silence of the small house. A thin little girl greeted him at the door, her voice flat and lifeless. Brother, you're back. Let's eat. The system provided some information. Joy Jong, 15 years old, 9th grade student. This little girl right now is just a somewhat withdrawn middle schooler. Looking at the simple meal on the table, Yeon Jong sighed sadly. Ever since our parents died in the demon tie, she's always been this quiet and gloomy. The scene of their happy family from 3 years ago played back like a reversed film. 3 years ago, when our parents were still alive, she wasn't like this at all. The joy of back then was much more cheerful and lively than she is now. The cruelty of the monster world had stolen the little girl's smile. The sudden death of our parents was truly too great a shock for her to bear. Halfway through her meal, Joy suddenly put down her chopsticks and said tonelessly, Brother, I'm planning to drop out of school. Yeon Jung froze, his eyes wide as he looked at his own sister. Why? He furrowed his brow, adopting the tone of a strict older brother. The high school entrance exams are coming up soon, and your scores in both academics and martial arts are A rank. With such excellent grades, why would you suddenly want to drop out? The girl lowered her head, lightly tapping her chopsticks. I saw your ranking on this year's Namdong City Rookie Level Ranking Board. You're in first place. Her voice carried a mix of pride and pain. Brother, you've always been so hardworking and persistent. In the future, you will surely become an incredibly powerful awakened, protecting this whole world. Her next words were filled with pessimism and self-deprecation. But as for me, even if my academic and martial arts scores are A's, with the way I am now, I won't amount to anything. Her small hands clenched her shirt. It's better if I quit now and get a part-time job. At least I can help with the family's living expenses. Hearing this, Yeon Jong sighed, his sharp gaze cutting straight to his sister's heart. I know that's not what you're really thinking. Tell me, I want to hear the real reason. The creaky wooden door suddenly rattled from the outside, breaking the tense atmosphere. A middle-aged man carrying a briefcase peeked his head in, smiling awkwardly. Little Joy, hello there. Seeing the two siblings eating with grim expressions, the man rubbed the back of his neck in confusion. Uncle, did I come at a bad time? But he shamelessly plopped down on the sofa anyway, rubbing his face and complaining about his poverty. My loan company has been doing really poorly lately. I can't keep it afloat anymore. Otherwise, I wouldn't have shown my face here to collect. Yeon Jong mentally reviewed the creditor's file. This man's name is Mr. Cohen, the owner of the Cohen Emergency Loan Shark Company. A portion of my and my sister's living expenses for the past 2 years came from borrowing from him. Glancing at his sister's unusually submissive attitude, the perceptive older brother immediately guessed the situation. Mr. Cohen must have already been here once today. The real reason she wants to drop out, I think I understand now. A pang of sorrow rose in the young man's heart as he looked at his little sister. She saw my ranking, knew I had a future, but our family has no source of income. He smiled sadly at the selfless girl. She doesn't want to be a burden to me anymore. She'd rather sacrifice her own future and work herself to the bone to earn money to send me to university. With that thought, Yeon Jong stood up abruptly and got straight to the point with a commanding presence. Mr. Cohen, in total, how much have we owed you over the past 2 years? The uncle rubbed his forehead, pretending to calculate, but the numbers were clear. The principal, not including interest, is around 43 yuan. I know your situation is difficult, but this time, before the man could finish, Jung tossed the powerful card into his hands. There's 50 zero yuan in this card. The remaining 6 zero or so can be considered interest payment for you. The creditor stammered, his eyes wide. Really? For real? Joyce had frozen like a statue, her eyes wide with extreme confusion as she stared at her brother. Brother, you. Where did you get that much money? 50,000 yuan. Jung glanced at the loan shark, thinking, I need to explain this to put my sister at ease. But it's a bit inconvenient with an outsider here. Getting the signal to leave. Mr. Cohen wisely made his exit. Well, then I'll be heading off. If you need any help from Uncle Cohen in the future, just let me know. As soon as the door closed, Joy's eyes welled up with tears of worry. Brother, if you obtain this money through illegal means, Mom and Dad in the afterlife will surely. Seeing his silly girl's wild thoughts, Jung smiled gently and stroked her hair. This is money your brother earned with his own abilities. He exuded an air of immense confidence, proudly declaring, from now on, you don't have to worry. Your brother will become the top rookie on the Namdong City Ranking Board. The prize for winning the Namdong University entrance exam is 300 yuan. You know, he lightly patted the girl's shoulder, concluding with a doting tone. So, you don't have to sacrifice your own future and work to support me through university. Joy looked up with her large, tear-filled eyes, choked with emotion. Brother, you figured it all out? Jong pressed the stack of money into his sister's hand, being very generous. Take it. Your brother isn't short on money. I have plenty of ways to make money. I just haven't used them yet. He smiled brightly, teasing her to dispel the gloomy atmosphere. Just study hard and train properly. After your brother reaches the pinnacle of glory, the pressure on your future will be immense. Sure enough, he added a psychologically manipulative yet encouraging remark. Because by then, everyone will see you as the sister of the #1 powerhouse. If you're not the strongest in your grade, it would be a huge embarrassment. You know, Joy's tears streamed down her face. She bit her lip, trying to hold back her emotions. Brother. The little girl rushed forward and hugged her brother tightly, sobbing as she promised. Brother, I will definitely not bring shame to the Zhang family. Holding his sister, a steely determination shone in Jiang's eyes. It seems next I'll have to fight a way to make money and level up at the same time. The top spot in Namdong City must be mine. The regressor's mind began to scan the world map. Inside Namdong City's demon territory, outside the human-occupied zone, there is an extremely ideal natural leveling ground. That place is Venom Dragon Valley. He smirked to himself. Venom Dragon Valley. A place fraught with danger but also filled with opportunities. The monsters there are densely packed, making it the fastest leveling spot for me at this stage. The image of a giant dragon flashed through his memory. Legend says that in the deepest part of Venom Dragon Valley, there's an extremely rare dragon-type magic beast. If I can get a dragon egg, my graft all things skill will finally have a use. Thinking of a glowing, jade-green egg, the young man couldn't help but get excited. Who knows? Maybe I can even create a powerful assistant. His lips twitched as he calculated the economic benefits. And I might even get lucky and find a bunch of magic crystals to sell for money. His eyes filled with the ambition of the strong. He made a firm decision. It's settled. I'll go there tomorrow. Let Venom Dragon Valley be the first stop on my journey to explore the demon world. The next morning, a bus rumbled to a stop before the eerie Crimson Gate of the demon territory. A steady announcement came from the speakers. Dear passengers, we have arrived at the Namdong Demon Territory station. Please exit through the rear door. Please be careful when exiting and watch the doors. Jong stepped off the bus coolly, calmly analyzing the situation. To get to the wilderness of the demon territory, first I have to go inside the demon territory. By this time, there should be quite a few people in there already. Looking up at the colossal tower that pierced the crimson sky, he murmured, This is the Namdong Demon Territory, in the real world of Namdong City. This place is just the entrance to the demon territory. But inside, the human stronghold is the Namdong Demon Sea. This is one of humanity's strongest outposts against the invasion of magic beasts. But, deep in his memory, the images of two powerful figures made him feel cold. Namdong Demon City is guarded by 2 sages above level 70. In my past life, I was forced to offer them quite a few benefits. Stepping into the bustling safe zone, he was met with the sight of countless adventurers coming and going. After entering the demon territory, most people wore their equipment directly for combat convenience. A single glance told him they were all high quality, expensive items. He touched the ring on his finger and smirked. But compared to the storage ring Hannah Yao gave me, the value of these small fry items is nothing. I have to admit, that little rich girl is truly loaded. Soon, he had walked through the crowded residential area. Here we are, the East Gate. The shortest path to my target, Venom Dragon Valley, is through this gate. A complex topographical map appeared clearly in the prodigy's mind. Within the explored demon environment, Venom Dragon Valley is the relatively safest place. The magic beasts living there mostly ranged from level 13 to 18. He smirked confidently, everything already within his grasp. It's the most suitable leveling ground for me right now. Arriving at the checkpoint, Ian Zhang calmly presented his student ID, which clearly stated the awkward information farmer. Repairman. The guards stared at the student ID, then back at the scholarly-looking young man, and quickly tried to dissuade him. A dual rank awakened. Are you sure you want to go into Venom Dragon Valley all by yourself? The wilderness outside the demon territory isn't a playground like the rookie training zones. You can actually die out there. Ian Zhang simply nodded politely, taking back his card with a strangely calm demeanor. Thank you for your concern. I will definitely return alive. The old guard broke into a cold sweat, gritting his teeth to be a good person. I can't let this kid go to his death, even if it's a crappy dual rank. It's still a life. He reached out his iron gauntleted hand, intending to grab the young man by the collar and pull him back. I have to stop this kid. However, his hand, which had just reached out, suddenly grabbed empty air. Ian Zhang's figure smoothly sidestepped like an invisible ghost, causing the grab to completely miss. The old guard's jaw dropped, his forehead covered in a cold sweat of shock. This kid, he actually dodged my grab? I'm a level 30 awakened. The guard next to him quickly ran over and grabbed his captain's arm, explaining in a panic, Captain, don't chase him. That kid is Ian Zhang, the one who can easily ignore class differences. The Ian Zhang whose single and action shattered all the time records in the rookie training zone. Hearing this, the captain stood frozen, watching the proud figure disappear into the distance. He muttered, I heard he's also the top student in both academics and martial arts at Namdung No. One high, a strong candidate for this year's Namdung City valedictorian. How can a dual rank awakened be this strong? The captain clutched his head, feeling his worldview completely collapsing. It's absurd. Even the S-rank geniuses from previous years didn't have such insane combat records. Leaving the stun guards behind, Ian Zhang had officially set foot in the infamous, deadly territory known as Venom Dragon Valley. An atmosphere of green poison mist enveloped the gloomy space, with sheer cliffs blocking out the sky. The young man leisurely took out a glowing blue pill from his storage ring and examined it carefully. The only problem with Venom Dragon Valley is the poison mist that fills the air. An antidote pill is an indispensable life-saving item. Popping the pill into his mouth, he calculated meticulously. This antidote pill costs 50 yuan each. The effect only lasts for 3 hours. I have to make the most of my time. After all, my biggest problem right now is the lack of money. Before he could finish his thought, a hideous flying lizard shot out of the air towards him. The system flashed red venom-winged lizard. LV 13. Ian Zhang smirked coldly, raising his sword to meet it. I've been waiting for you. The sword flashed, and experience notifications popped up continuously on the screen. 1.5%, 2.1%, 2.7%. Looking at the progress bar, he nodded in satisfaction. Not bad. Not bad. Just 3 of them, and I've already gained a 0.7% progress. He strode confidently into the poison mist, as expected of monsters in the wild. Come on, give me some more. To optimize his time, the young man's eyes glowed with killing intent. Next, I need to speed up my leveling. Activate modify. A surge of magical light erupted. The rule-bending sword officially returned. Azure Steel Sword modified to Crimson Steel Sword. Ian Zhang launched himself forward like a ghost. Now, the hunt begins. Charging straight into a pack of snarling, clawing monsters, he roared arrogantly. You worthless little magic beasts. Get your necks ready. The blade that cut iron like mud swept through, and monsters fell wherever it passed. Slain a large number of venom-winged lizards. Gained a large amount of experience. Yeonjong has leveled up to 16. He then charged into a thicket of sharp thorns. Slain a large number of flesh-eating brambles. Gained a large amount of experience. Yeonjong has leveled up to 17. His sword flashed like lightning among 7 sluggish magic toads. Slain a large number of miasma toads. Gained a large amount of experience. Yeonjong has leveled up to 18. After clearing the battlefield, Yeonjong sat down on a rock, tilted his head back, and chugged a bottle of water. Level 18. 8.9% progress. But looking at the pile of monster corpses, he frowned and sighed. I've killed my way all the way in here. But how come not a single magic crystal has dropped? He clicked his tongue in frustration. My luck today is really terrible. Suddenly, a surprised voice came from behind him. Did you kill all of these? Yeonjong slowly turned his head, his sharp eyes immediately recognizing the newcomer. So it's Leon Liu. The S-rank awakened from Namdong No. 7 high. Memories of prominent figures surfaced clearly. Swift Wind Assassin. Leon Liu, the young master of the prestigious Liu family in Namdong City. Beside the young master was an arrogant lackey who pointed and said, Sir Leon is talking to you. Are you deaf? Yeonjong inwardly rolled his eyes in contempt. Oh, so there's a nameless bootlicker too. He casually stood up, rested his sword on the ground, and replied with a cold attitude. If I didn't kill them, did you? The lackey immediately bristled like a fighting cock. You little punk. How dare you speak to Sir Leon with that attitude? Do you know who Sir Leon is? Leon Liu raised a hand to stop his underling, looking at Yeonjong with a self-important gaze. I know you. Yeonjong. He adopted a recruiting tone. Your skills are not bad. Interested in partying up? Of course. Yeonjong slung his sword over his shoulder and turned to walk away decisively. Not interested. Goodbye. In his mind, he understood the guy's dirty scheme perfectly. You want to leech my experience without splitting the loot? Dream on. Being rejected so bluntly. The underling grew bitter and tried to provoke him. Sir Leon, why you let me teach him a lesson? He gritted his teeth in frustration. That kid is white arrogant. Leon Liu's eyes darkened, a sinister calculation flashing within them. A dual rank awakened who dares to come this far alone. Perhaps he really is a talent. He spoke in a low voice. Just wait. The next time we meet, I'll give you a chance to act. The lackey cracked his knuckles, smiling maliciously. All right, when the time comes, watch me beat this dual rank trash until his teeth are all over the ground. In another, deeper corner of the valley, Yeonjong continued his lonely journey. Only one antidote pill left. I'll find a few more miasma toads to kill. Get to level 19. And then retreat. The poison mist grew thicker and thicker. An hour passed. Yeonjong clicked his tongue with regret. What a shame. Not a single rare monster in sight. He looked up at the hazy green sky, recalling the legends from his past life. I heard there's an extremely powerful dragon-type magic beast in Venom Dragon Valley. But so far, I haven't seen any trace of it. Suddenly, just as he was letting his guard down, a large black streak shot out from the mist, aiming straight for his head. His combat reflexes, honed to perfection, kicked in. Yeonjong immediately leaned back and swung his sword upwards. What the hell? A sneak attack? The impact with the strange, slippery tentacle created a shockwave that knocked the blade away, sending his body sliding back several meters. Yeonjong's eyes widened in shock as he stared at his gleaming blade. The crimson steel sword couldn't cut through it. His expression became extremely serious. Its defense is too strong. In the next second, a giant frog-like shadow leapt out, shattering the poison mist and surrounding the young man with overwhelming pressure. The system panel flashed bright red miasma Toad King. LV 20. Boss level monster. So this is the final boss of this area. A problem had turned into an opportunity. Yeonjong flashed a greedy, radiant smile. Finally, I get to meet a boss level monster. Today's magic crystal. I'll be taking it from you. Without giving its prey time to react, the boss toad immediately used its skill. Giant tongue entanglement. The long, forty tongue shot out like a lightning bolt. Yeonjong leapt backward to dodge the attack, struggling to avoid the devastating lash. So fast, but he smirked cunningly. A familiar dirty plan already forming in his mind. I've already figured out how to break this skill of yours. Activate skill modify. The sly young man recited the incantation as smoothly as a habit. Giant tongue entanglement modified to giant tongue tangle up. Instantly, the aggressively lashing giant tongue lost control, automatically tying itself in a knot unwrapping tightly around the Toad King's own body, turning it into a tangled mess. Ion Zhang soared into the air, yelling triumphantly, "Now's my chance. You beast. I'll take your life." Swinging the crimson steel sword straight at the monster's rough skin. A loud, metallic clang echoed, sending sparks flying. The blade was repelled, and Dian Zhang was pushed back by the force, his eyes wide in disbelief. I still can't break its defense. The system displayed a line of bright green text as Toad King activates skill mutated toad skin. Self-defense is greatly increased. Damn, this toad skin is really thick. To make matters worse, the system delivered another devastating blow. Modified target's level is higher than user's level. Modification effect has expired. The word tangle up suddenly switched back to entanglement. Ion Zhang cursed under his breath, sweat pouring down his face. Of all the times to wear off, watching the giant tongue slowly angle itself, he learned a painful lesson. The weakness of using the modify skill on an enemy is right here. When challenging a higher level opponent, the duration of the modification is very short. If I'm unlucky, there's even a chance the modification will fail. The Toad King, having just freed itself, charged forward in a rage, opening its stinking mouth to swallow the young man whole. Its long tongue lashed out crazily. Yet he still stood there calmly, with no way out. Ion Zhang decided to go all in. Looks like I have to make a big gamble. He immediately pulled out the Demon Vanquishing Saber he had bought earlier. Demon Vanquishing Saber. Activate skill modify. A brilliant magical aura erupted more fiercely than ever before, a surge of dark power rising from within the saber. The young man's eyes flashed with the madness of a gambler. Demon Vanquishing Saber. Changed to Demon King Saber. A pillar of crimson light shot straight into the sky. The saber in his hand was now wreathed in the flames of a demon king, radiating a destructive aura ready to split the very heavens. A voice echoed from hell through the blade. Who dares to summon this king? The system displayed terrifying information. Demon King Sword. Quality. Attributes. Contains 1/10 of the consciousness of the 7th Demon King. Blood Spirit Asura. Extremely risky. Uncontrollable. Absolutely do not attempt to use. Ion Zhang broke into a cold sweat, his hand holding the blood-red saber as he gasped for breath. What I modified this time is a huge problem. I have to finish off this as Toad King quickly. Deciding to end it fast, he swung the saber and charged forward. Take this. A massive, molten red arc of blade light descended, splitting the very ground with unparalleled might. The next second, the giant boss Toad lay flattened. Ion Zhang, supporting himself with the saber, dropped to one knee. Staggering, he muttered, assessing the destructive power of the heavy weapon. What a terrifying weapon. Just one strike and it drained all my stamina. But the real danger was only just beginning to emerge. This Demon King Saber isn't stable. It's starting to backfire on my body. Crimson, vein-like patterns spread up his arm like tree roots. He panted, trying to turn the tables. Activate skill. Modify. But his body had reached its limit. Ion Zhang collapsed to the ground. Damn it! My stamina is completely depleted. The young man's face was pale and helpless. I can't even activate modify anymore. The demonic consciousness within the saber began to assert its cruel dominance. So, it's just a human. You dare to borrow the power of this king, then pay the price. The blood-red eye on the hilt glared with malevolence. Even if this king cannot descend personally, just 1/10 of my power is enough to erase your civilization and enslave your entire race. Faced with a threat of cosmic proportions, Ion Zhang just smirked faintly, regaining his usual slyness. I already predicted this would happen. Completely unfazed, he pulled out his backup sword and stabbed forward. This isn't the first time I've modified a Demon King Saber. You know, the Demon King roared and panicked. You scum! How dare you! Stab. The blade pierced through the parasitic demonic eye on the hilt. A crimson aura enveloped the entire space. The Demon King's voice shattered with immense bitterness. You bastard! For today's insult, this king will definitely make you repay it. I will tear your flesh into 1,000 pieces, seal you in the sea of blood, and imprison your soul for eternity. Yeonjong knelt, clutching his arm, and sighed in relief. Once you pierce the Demon King's consciousness rooted within the weapon, the corrosion process stops. He calmly regained his breath. I just need to wait for my stamina to recover. Change its name back to normal, and everything will be over. Slumped on the ground, the young man began to recall painful lessons. In my past life, my modify skill also caused a similar incident. The image of a terrifying god overshadowing the sky flashed through his mind. But that time, the one who descended was the Night Demon King, Thunder Spirit Annihilation. That incident was much worse than this one. We even needed a nation-guarding general over level 80 to intervene. He looked at the battered saber and drew a veteran's conclusion. But thanks to that disaster, I learned how to deal with this kind of anomaly. The only way to subdue them is to directly attack the consciousness anchored to the weapon itself. Ian Jiang's eyes suddenly grew profound, pondering the nature of the world. Are those terrifying entities just creatures of the demon territory? Or do these demon kings come from a world even more terrifying than the demon territory? Pushing aside grand theories, he stood up and swung the reticortic saber. Rested enough. Time to collect the spoils. Activate skill modify. Demon King Saber. Change name to Demon Vanquishing Saber. With the soul of a merchant, Yeonjong walked towards the colossal corpse. Urami as Toad King boss. After all, don't disappoint me. As if to answer his expectations, a crystal sparkling with magic popped out of the corpse. The young man's eyes lit up, his greed flaring. A magic crystal from a level 20 boss. The market price is at least 100. 0 yuan. I've really struck it rich this time. Leaving nothing behind, he raised his storage ring and sucked up all the remains, including the Toad King's corpse, plus the monster corpses I cleared out earlier. All high-grade materials. Selling them will definitely fetch a hefty sum. A sly, cunning smile appeared on the merchant's lips. If I sell this stuff on the official market, I won't get a good price. After I get back to Namdong City, I'll offload it all on the black market to squeeze out every last bit of profit. The system panel flashed a notification me as Toad King Slay. Unidentified entity slay. Received a large amount of experience. Yeonjong scratched his head in confusion. Oh yeah, I think I leveled up after killing the Toad King just now. Sure enough, a brilliant leveling light enveloped him, jumping from level 18 straight to 20. Leveled up twice in one go. The unidentified entity must have been that Reed Demon King I from before. I didn't expect to get such a nice experience bonus. A heretical leveling idea crossed the sly young man's mind. If I just repeatedly summon and kill that eye, could I exploit a system bug and grind straight to level 100 right here? But the image of the giant, evil, red eye covering the sky, immediately extinguished that fantasy. But if I screw up just once, I'll probably take the entire city of Namdong with me. Then I'd be forced to start all over again. He wiped away cold sweat and concluded rationally. It's best not to gamble with people's lives. Pushing the bug abuse idea aside, Yeonjong excitedly opened the system. I get a new innate skill every 10 levels. Let's see what I got this time. Reached LV. 20th, new craftsman skill disassemble LV. 1. Effect can disassemble items below LV. 10 to obtain various materials. 10% chance to trigger a critical bonus. Critical bonus disassembled materials obtained X2. Receive new farmer innate skill pest immunity LV. 1. Effect after using this skill. Crops become immune to pests. A capitalistic smile curved his lips again. These new skills seem pretty interesting. Disassemble is a grinder's best friend for making money. He smugly analyzed his biggest gain. And as for pest immunity, I just need to use the modify skill on one word, and it will instantly become a god-tiered damage immunity skill. However, he remained clear-headed as he sped through the poison mist. Although a skill like damage immunity is to game breaking and will surely come with a host of restrictions. In a crisis, it's an absolutely perfect life-saving trump card. Time to head back. As he was gliding smoothly through the air, his internal danger sense suddenly blared. An assassin shadow shot down from a tree branch above. Yeonjong glanced over, his face showing undisguised boredom. It's that bootlicker of Leon Liu's from before. What the hell is he doing here? The good David Liu brandished a pair of daggers, smiling with contemptuous victory. You dual rank trash. I've finally caught you. The system provided some light info LV. 17, Assassin. Rank combat class. Thinking he had victory in the bag, the assassin shot forward, his speed leaving a sharp after image on the ground. He roared aggressively, activating his innate skill. Increases agility by 30%. A piece of trash like you needs a lesson from me. Two poison-tipped daggers stabbed straight toward the unmoving young man. Gotcha! The assassin was reveling in his triumph. What right does in rank class have to fight a frontline combat class like me? When suddenly, he felt nothing. Jong had merely leaned aside, effortlessly dodging, and let out a single word boring. The crimson steel sword immediately swung, a flash of light that tore through the mist. David Liu fell to the ground with a thud, fresh blood pouring from a deep diagonal slash across his chest. He clutched his chest, his face contorted in pain as he screamed, getting slapped in the face so hard. He clutched his chest, cold sweat pouring down. His eyes were filled with utter shock. What the hell? Why is he even faster than me? And didn't he just take that sword out of a storage ring? Watching Ian Jiang's cold figure approach, the assassin trembled and wondered, how could a piece of trash like him possibly afford something as expensive as a storage ring? Ian Jiang slung his sword over his shoulder, looking down at the man as if he were useless garbage, and began to lecture him. You think just because you awakened to combat class, you're automatically invincible? Personal training, stat enhancements, combat awareness, and even the level gap. All those things are what determine Ru's strength. He turned away infuriately, silently assessing. This guy's skill level is clearly far below mine. If it were his master himself, maybe then. Lost in thought, Ian Jong suddenly frowned, sensing a sharp killing intent approaching from a blind spot. A hidden blade, gleaming with a poisonous purple hue, flew straight for his face. Quick as a flash, he caught the deadly projectile between the fingers. A corner of his lip twitched up. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. From the air, Lian Lu's figure descended like a phantom, delivering a powerful kick down onto the swordian had just managed to raise in defense. Pressing his cold face against the gleaming sword, Lian Lu smirked and growled. Nice sword. Not to be outdone. Ian Zhang also smiled dangerously, returning the favor with a compliment dripping with sarcasm. Your weapon isn't too shabby either. The collision created a shockwave, and both of them simultaneously flipped backward to create a safe distance. Lian Lu took a fighting stance, his eyes burning with the competitive fire of the strong. Let me see for myself what the number one on the rookie ranking board is really made of. Ian Zhang smirked, slinging his saber over his shoulder with a contemptuous attitude full of provocation. So you don't accept my number one spot, huh? He boastfully made a gangster-like proposition. Fighting like this is boring. Let's make a bet. Whoever loses has to hand over their weapon. Fine by me. Before the words were even out, Lian Lu had transformed into a brilliant purple tornado as the system announced test ranks. Swift Wind Assassin activates innate talent. Swift Wind Step borrows the power of the wind to increase agility by 80%. Smelling a sweet deal, the sly young man smugly swung his sword to meet the charge. In that case, I'll gladly accept your saber. Looks like my savings account is about to get another deposit. Lian Lu charged at godlike speed, roaring arrogantly. My class is destined to be faster than anyone else. Speed is everything. The two blades clashed, creating dazzling shockwaves. Ian Zhang silently assessed an absurdly fast speed, as expected of an S-rank combat class. From the side, his bootlicking underling cheered enthusiastically. So cool. Just like that. Take him down. Sir Liar. Lian Lu pressed his attack relentlessly, a half smile of pure confidence on his face. Too slow. You're no match for me at all. And rank class is, in the end, just in rank class. He gathered his strength and swung down for a fatal blow aimed straight at his opponent's head. This will end it all. A spray of fresh blood shot through the air. Ian Jiang had caught his opponent's short saber with his bare hand. Gotcha. Ian Jiang's sword had slipped past his defense and was now resting against Lian Lu's side, accompanied by a deadly smile. The winner has been decided. Lian Lu's eyes widened in shock, cold sweat beading on his forehead as he realized the trap. From the very beginning, he had no intention of competing with me in speed. Feeling a sense of dread for the first time, the young master gritted his teeth. So this is the power of the number one on the Namdong City rookie ranking board. Things are finally starting to get interesting. As expected of a genius, Lian Lu twisted his body and parried with his saber in an instant, decisively abandoning his weapon to use the force to push himself away. But if you're willing to trade blows, I can also cut my losses to survive. Yanjia, holding the bloody sword, looked up and praised him with amusement. Well done, kid. You actually abandoned your weapon? He gave a smile of acknowledgement. Your practical combat experience is very impressive. With that, he pointed the tip of his sword at his now unarmed prey and taunted. However, now that you have no weapon, how do you plan to continue fighting me? Unexpectedly, the wealthy young master calmly tapped his ring and pulled out a brand new, gleaming saber. I'm very fond of this type of short saber, so I usually keep 3 spares in my storage ring. Seeing this blatant display of wealth, Yanjiang's lips twitched with a mix of bitterness and envy. I almost forgot. He's the young master of the prestigious Lu family in Namdong. Even though this rank weapon is very expensive, to him, it's just pocket change. But that wealth only further ignited the fighting spirit of the poor. However, beating down an arrogant genius like this is all the more satisfying. On the other side, Lian Lu gathered a massive amount of purple wind-type magic around himself. You're the first person my age to see the skill of mine. I originally thought that honor would go to that sword saint. The system panel flashed Swift Wind Slash. LV1. Effects lashes out a wind-type blade of energy, dealing 150% attack damage. After the skill is resolved. After reaching LV3, the skill will undergo a qualitative upgrade. He roared as he swung his saber, unleashing a crescent-shaped wave of destruction. Swift Wind Cleave. Yanjiang somersaulted to avoid the sharp blade of wind, which split a large rock in two. He silently assessed. This is the power of a combat class. Each innate skill provides a massive boost in strength. He ran, sweating, as he evaluated the situation. Not to mention this kid is an S-rank combat class. He's ridiculously strong. However, in the eyes of a master, the opponent's weakness was immediately seen through. But the speed at which he launches his blade energy is clearly not as fast as his melee attacks. Unleashing this kind of wide aerial wind-type attack must consume a huge amount of his stamina. Using the terrain, Yanjiang slipped into the shadows of the misty forest, hiding his form and waiting for an opportunity for a one-hit kill. That's my chance to win. After all, I can't reveal my true innate skill. Having lost his target, Lian Lu stood on high ground. Looking around, his saber still held at the ready. He muttered with a cold, calculating smile. He's hiding. A wise decision. A storm of magical energy began to surge around the assassin again. But he unleashed countless blades of wind, tearing up the area below. What will you do when there's nowhere left to hide? Trees fell, dust and smoke filled the air, and deep gashes tore apart a large swath of land. After the smoke cleared, Lian Lu landed on the now barren ground, his senses on high alert for the slightest movement. He frowned, a drop of sweat rolling down his cheek with an ease. That die. He vanished. Suddenly, a dark shadow stretched across the ground behind him. Lian Lu's reflexes were razor sharp, and he instantly spun around to deliver a fatal blow. The sharp blade slashed straight at the illusion. You're down. I see you. Unexpectedly, the powerful strike hit something inanimate, leaving the young master staring in shock. A tree stump? In that moment when Lian Lu revealed a fatal opening, Yanjiang glided down from above like a ghost. His cold blade stopped right at his opponent's neck as he flashed a cunning smile. Feint east. Attack west. I win. At the same time, a bitter thought flashed through Lian Lu's mind in disbelief. In rank class, could actually push me to this extent? Lian Lu broke out in a cold sweat, shockingly realizing the harsh truth. He used the terrain here, even the plants. If he were in A-rank class, I can't imagine how monstrously strong he'd be. He tightened his grip on his saber, flying back while clinging to the last shred of his superiority complex. But it's a pity, no matter how strong you are, you're still just a bottom-tier rank class, while I am a genuine S-rank combat class. Instantly, a brilliant purple wind shield erupted, blocking the fatal slash. The system displayed wind barrier shield. Lian Lu roared, gritting his teeth to hold on. How could I possibly be defeated by you so easily? Yanjiang was slightly surprised, muttering his calculations. This kid has actually broken through level 20 already, and even has another life-saving innate skill? Eye confident smile quickly returned to the sly man's lips. He pressed his sword down with more force. But my azure steel sword is no joke either. You know. Sparks flew between the two forces as Yeonjong forced the young master back. Even with this turtle shell of yours, don't think you can block an attack this powerful. Crack. The windshield shattered, sending Leon Lu flying back, his back slamming hard against a nearby dead tree. Without giving his prey a moment to breathe, Yeonjong strode over with his massive greatsword, his presence completely dominating the situation. He narrowed his eyes, weighing the pros and cons. Should I go for the kill? But this clearly isn't a life-or-death situation. A memory from his past life suddenly surfaced, recalling the image of a heroic, blood-soaked general. Besides, Lian Lu isn't a bad person at his core. In my past life, he was the one who led the Lu family to stand against the invading magic beasts. On the other side, the young master of the Lu family clutched his chest, coughing violently and spitting out mouthfuls of fresh blood. His eyes were bloodshot with the unwillingness to accept defeat. I haven't lost yet. I'll wait for him to get a little closer. Then I'll hit him with a point-blank wind blade. Even if my stamina is depleted, I have to seriously injure him. Though he thought this, the bitterness of an arrogant genius still welled up. But as an S rank awakened, to be pushed into such a miserable state by an rank, he lowered his eyes, muttering in a state of existential doubt. Can a rank class really grow this strong? But no matter what, my S rank potential is definitely higher than his. Before he could nurse his wounded ego, Leon Lu jerked his head up in shock as he saw the shadow of the greatsword already swinging down coldly. He desperately gritted his teeth and raised his short saber in a defensive stance. He's coming. He braced for a mind-shattering blow. But no. Yeonjong simply extended an empty hand towards his opponent. The assassin was stunned, a giant question mark appearing above his head. Huh? The sly young man flashed a friendly, conciliatory smile and offered his hand. Looks like this match is a draw. You're really strong. Lian Lu was dumbfounded, letting his opponent pull him up, still unable to process the whiplash-inducing change in attitude. What do you mean by that? Yeonjong put on the incredibly sincere face of a true gentleman. What I mean is, you are a worthy opponent for me to be concerned about. Let's call this match a draw, shall we? Looking into those bright eyes, Lian Lu suddenly let go of all his arrogance and defenses. This is the gaze of acknowledgement. He's not looking down on me. I am strong, but he is also strong. I understand. The young master smiled with relief, untying the knot in his own heart. There's always a higher mountain. For every expert, there is a greater one. Thank you for teaching me this truth. Shaking hands as they stood up, Lian Lu declared boldly, like a sworn brother, I acknowledge you as a true powerhouse. A powerhouse worthy of being my rival. But next time, at the top 100 rookie tournament, I will defeat you fair and square. Seeing his fish had swallowed the hook, line, and sinker, Yeonjong smirked faintly and goaded him with captivating words. Then you'll have to work even harder to get stronger. Otherwise, you'll lose even the right to be my rival. Just as the air was filled with brotherly rivalry, Lian Lu's underling suddenly jumped out from nowhere, bristling like a porcupine and pointing a finger at Yeonjong. You punk! Stop right there. How dare you injure my Sir Leon like this? However, Lian Lu quickly raised a hand to stop his impulsive subordinate, reminding him sternly, don't be rude. From now on, you must respect him the same way you respect me. After reining in his underling, the young master turned back to Yeonjong, his eyes burning with determination. Next time, I will definitely go all out to defeat you. Absolutely. Yeonjong calmly stuck his hands in his pockets, watching as the master and disciple's figures gradually disappeared behind the bare trees of the forest. Once his prey was out of sight, our hero smirked to himself. If I had really gone all out just now. His hand opened, revealing the glowing square pixels of a system skill. The moment you shouted out the name of your first skill, you had already lost for sure. My swift wind slash has also been modified, so it has countless other hilarious possibilities. Shedding his profound demeanor, Yeonjong put a hand to his head and sighed with frustration. But what a shame. After fighting so hard for so long, I'm leaving empty-handed. He looked sadly at the short saber that had just been returned to him, a pang of pragmatic regret rising in his heart. Because it was a draw, he gave the weapon back. It feels like I've been working for free. However, heaven does not disappoint the greedy. Ian Jiang's eyes suddenly narrowed in surprise when he spotted a glowing green light in the distance. Remembering his earth-shattering attack from before, he nodded, analyzing the situation. My slash must have accidentally torn through a layer of camouflage, revealing something that was originally invisible. He casually picked up a rock and threw it into the mist, drawing a conclusion. It looks like some kind of special poison gas. I'll go check it out. Maybe I'll get lucky and find another boss-level monster. With that thought, the system immediately brought good news as the Modify skill activated, transferring damage immunity into poison immunity LV1, allowing him to resist poison 1.5 times his own level for 20 minutes. Now armed to the teeth with a top-tier poison armor buff, Ian Zhong walked forward surrounded by a green aura, feeling extremely pleased with himself. With this skill, for a while, I won't have to worry about wasting money on buying antidotes. He calmly strolled to the edge of the strange mist, his eyes full of curiosity. What in the world is hiding in this poisonous fog? As soon as he stepped through the mist, a grand and equally terrifying scene unfolded before him. Wow! It looks like a lake filled with poison. His imagination began to run wild as he dreamed of an epic leveling scenario. Could it be that a legendary venom dragon is sealed beneath this lake? To answer his own question, he didn't hesitate to dive straight into the water. But he seemed disappointed. Let's go down and see. Hey, why is it just a bunch of useless small fry down here? Just as he finished his complaint, a massive black shadow loomed, obscuring the view at the bottom of the murky, poisonous lake. It was accompanied by a jaw full of sharp teeth, open wide and ready to swallow its prey whole. The system immediately scanned the monster's information iron-armored ice crocodile. LV-18. With godlike reflexes, Ian Zhong flipped and swam swiftly to the side to dodge the lightning-fast bite, smiling challengingly. So there's a big one hiding down here too. You think swallowing me is that easy? The monster, having missed its attack, furiously swam around, while Ian Zhong had already turned into a ready stance, his sword prepared. Since you bothered to bring yourself right to my doorstep, without a moment's hesitation, he pulled out his massive greatsword, splitting the water. Then I'll reluctantly harvest the resources from your body. The interface signaled that the armor-piercing effect had activated. The sword flashed with a brilliant light, piercing through the tough scales and instantly ending the unlucky monster's life. Looking at the massive crocodile corpse floating and bleeding, the sly young man scratched his head in frustration as he held out his storage ring. Damn! This thing is huge. My storage ring can't fit it. But where there's a will, there's a way. His eyes suddenly lit up with a new idea. Well then, I might as well test out the disassemble skill I just got. The system displayed disassemble LV1, allowing him to break down items for materials with a 10% chance of an extra bonus. He confidently extended his hand and commanded, activate disassemble. Instantly, a spectacular scene straight out of a sci-fi movie appeared. The crocodile's corpse began to break down into thousands of blue, high-tech cubes, the process completed with a dazzling explosion of light, brilliantly illuminating the entire dark bottom of the lake. Loot notifications chimed continuously. E-rank bones, commonly used for crafting low-level weapons. I-rank meat useless but tastes pretty good. And most notably, Drank hide an excellent material for crafting ice-resistant equipment. As he waved his hand to collect the sparkling loot into his ring, Ion Jong nodded with deep satisfaction. This high isn't bad at all. I'll be taking this home. While busily swimming, Ion Jong suddenly turned his head with caution, sensing a strange aura from the deep water below. He stared intently at the dazzling green light in the distance and muttered to himself, I wonder when I swam so close to the source of this poisonous fog. Since he had a high-quality poison resistance buff, the young man decided to risk it and dive straight down to see what was there. The deeper he dived, a massive cavern glowing with an eerie green light gradually appeared before him. Looking at the strange scenery, he couldn't help but marvel. The terrain around here has been completely warped by the toxins. Could my luck be good enough to actually encounter a super boss? Finally, he landed on a crystal-like lake bed that was still filled with poison gas, quickly hiding behind a large rock. Yeung Jiang's eyes widened in shock as he exclaimed, This is... Before him, curled up in the middle of the cavern, was a colossal creature. The system's bright red panel announced Venom Dragon. LV. 43. Female. Currently in its growth stage. The young man broke into a cold sweat, unable to believe his eyes. A genuine venom dragon, still in its growth stage. And it has already laid eggs? And it's already level 43. Swallowing hard, he mentally assessed the risks and rewards. No wonder it's called a legendary, powerful monster. Once it's fully grown, this dragon could easily reach level 70. His eyes were glued to the two glowing eggs behind the mother dragon, and greed immediately flared up. What's more, I have the graft all things skill. The power limit of these eggs can be pushed to a whole new level. Looking at the white bones of unlucky souls scattered around the dragon's nest, he told himself righteously, I just need to wait for the right moment to snatch those dragon eggs. It's like robbing the rich to give to the poor. It's like getting revenge for those who died here. But life is not a dream. The entire cave suddenly shook violently, causing the water to tremble. Jung was startled and quickly looked around for the cause. What's going on? Don't tell me. Instantly, a massive male venom dragon with a wingspan that covered the entire lakebed descended, its talons clutching a fat wild boar for his wife's dinner. Our hero quickly ducked his head, sweating as he retreated deeper into the shadows with a speechless expression. How the hell is there a male one camped out here too? Realizing that a one-on-to fight was too risky, he immediately turned and swam back up. It's not safe here at all. I can't beat them right now. I'll wait until I've leveled up and gotten stronger. Then I'll come back to settle the score. Surfacing from the steaming, poisonous water, the young man stretched and took a deep breath. His eyes burned with ambition. My goal is now much clearer. He smirked confidently, laying out the perfect plan. What I need to do is become stronger and steal that entire nest of dragon eggs. He immediately envisioned a scene of himself majestically riding a dragon across the sky. When that time comes, who in this Namdung city would dare to look down on me anymore? Stepping onto the muddy shore and shaking off the poisonous water, he quickly summarized his immediate goal. All right, the first thing to do now is to take these crocodile materials to the black market and sell them for cash. The scene shifts to a dilapidated, patched-up apartment complex under a crimson evening sky, the location of Nam-dung City's underground black market. Walking through the bustling street filled with thugs and gangsters, Ian Jong recalled his past life's knowledge. This is the city's underground black market. It's rumored to be protected by a level 60 Grandmaster, and this person seems to have an incredibly powerful backer. He glanced at the stalls with sharp swords and blades displayed all over the roadside, calmly assessing. So as long as you don't cause too much trouble here, the authorities will just turn a blind eye and not interfere. This makes transactions extremely convenient. But of course, it also serves as the perfect cover for countless crimes. After walking a bit, he stopped in front of a luxurious door with a shiny gold-plated sign, Jaden Gold Pavilion. This is the most reputable black market shop in my memory. As soon as he stepped inside, his eyes fell on Kenyu, the owner of the Jaden Gold Pavilion. A seductive beauty with a fiery figure, leisurely exhaling smoke from a fancy pipe. In front of the counter, two hunters were sweating as they haggled. Madam, can you raise the price just a little? Come on, brother. Getting this stuff wasn't easy. Exhaling a puff of smoke artfully, Madame Ken coldly shut them down. No haggling. The price I've offered is the highest on the street. If you don't want to sell, feel free to leave. After shooing away the persistent customers, Kenyu's sharp gaze shifted to Yeonjong. She raised an eyebrow with surprising curiosity. A high school student. Do you have something to sell? Little boy? Seeing the shabbily dressed kid cut in, one of the hunters curled his lip in contempt and thought to himself, this little brat doesn't even have a decent set of clothes. How could he possibly have anything valuable to sell? Annoyed, the big guy next to him strode forward, pointing a finger straight in Ian's face and threatening him. Kid, I suggest you get lost right now. Don't stand here and waste our time. Being yelled at to his face, Ian Jong remained unfazed. He calmly raised his hand to show off the sparkling ring and humbly replied, I don't really have any major items. Seeing the familiar light, the two hunters' eyes widened. Their arrogant attitude instantly vanished. A storage ring? How the hell does a brat like him own something so expensive? Amused by the comical expressions of the loud-muted gangsters, our hero extended his hand, preparing to unload his goods. Well, this is pretty much all I have. As soon as he finished speaking, a mountain of materials poured out of the ring, filling the entire room with all sorts of dazzling item names. From iron-armored ice crocodile bones and venom crocodile fangs to iron-armored ice crocodile hide. The two hunters who were so cocky just moments ago now had their jaws on the floor, completely frozen in shock before the massive pile of resources. Even a seasoned beauty like Madam Kin couldn't hide her shock, her beautiful eyes wide with amazement. He even has iron armored crocodile hide. Could this kid have gone deep into the core of Venom Valley? Not stopping at that mild-faced slap, Ion Jong casually extended his hand again, summoning a crystal that glowed with a brilliant purple light. Oh, right. I almost forgot. I also have this. The moment the crystal appeared, the two hunters scrambled forward, clutching their heads and screaming as if they'd seen a ghost. A magic crystal. A real, genuine magic crystal. Oh my god. A deep shock flashed in Kinyu's eyes. She carefully observed the mysterious young man before her, silently assessing him. Just who in the world is this kid? Ignoring the petrified expressions of everyone around him, Ion Jong calmly flashed a business-like smile. Madame, could you please total up how much all of this is worth? Dangling the magic crystal taunting lie in front of the two hunters who were sweating with desire. He smiled slyly and urged, could you please hurry it up a bit? I don't want to delay the important business of these two big brothers here.